Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to one of the few lives that we actually do here on 10 Minutes with Kuhle, as well as I am joined today by Tokeno. How's it, my brother?
I'm good. How are you, Kuhle?
Good, good, man. So Tokelo is one of the youth activists actually who actually runs a couple of organizations. Him and I actually usually butt heads over certain issues, but I thought it was important to bring you out here to, especially our new channel, because we've got a new channel running actually, not just my channel that everyone seems to be familiar with, but it is Turning Point SA. Obviously, Turning Point is inspired by Charlie Kirk from the United States, who had Turning Point USA, right? So this will also be double streamed onto Turning Point SA's YouTube account. So to all those watching, please do make sure to check that out. It's one of our new channels. It's our way actually of spreading the Judeo-Christian message of spreading free markets, the message of free markets, the message of capitalism, the message of scrapping BE and building a conservative society. That is our channel that we use to spread that message. Now, without any further ado, I think you and I had and I think a great place to start, obviously, so that this debate runs very well, would be to start with our debate, the one that we had yesterday, which was on grants, right? And I had released a video where I had
Correct.
spoken about grants, saying that grants should be scrapped. For those of you who don't follow me on Instagram,
Correct.
just updating you. So I was mentioning the fact that, look, I don't get how people are still beggars with this grant system that I already disagree with. And I said, because that money you can use to start a business, you can go and become a gardener, you can do something with your life. And I base that off of reality, right? I'm using foreign immigrants that come from all over Africa. And they come from third world countries, from, to be quite frank, I'm sorry to say this, but they come from shitholes. And they come to South Africa. And they make a living for themselves. They do well, like it or not, like it or not. Even I, who is against immigration, has to agree that those guys are smart because they come up, they start shops, they support each other. If they're not starting shops, others are driving Mr. D scooter bikes. By the way, I was speaking to a guy who does Mr. D. He tells me that he's making 22,000 Rand a month. This is what he tells me. I did my research on Checkers 60 drivers, most of them are Zimbabweans. They are making 35,000 Rand a month. Now tell me, what stops a South African from doing all these things? And let me not just say what stops a South African, mainly what stops black South Africans. Why have black South Africans reduced themselves to the point of sitting in squalor, of sitting in a township, and not just sitting in a township? You sit, you drink, and whenever your SASA money comes in, instead of doing something beneficial, the ladies do their hair with the SASA money. It's been recorded. I'm not saying this out of malice. It's been also studied, by the way, from a party that I'm not part of called Rise Mzansi, where they said many SASA grant recipients, over 81%, spend their SASA grant money on betting, on gambling, on gambling. And majority of SASA grant recipients are black people, right? Now, tell me, we cannot say that you need to cure poverty by giving people more money. That's not the recipe. For as long as there's no financial literacy education amongst black folks, nothing's going to change. And sometimes it needs that hard talker like myself who will tell you that, listen, boy, you are doing rubbish. You can't be spending your money on booze. You can't be making 10 babies that you can't afford. Who must pay for them? The taxpayer. Who's the taxpayer?
Look,
You know, that's my view.
Kuhle, my yeah, I think my take is the issue of the social grant, right? I hear what you're saying, but I think that's an oversimplification of the reality of about 40 million South Africans that get the social grant. And simply saying that you should just go find a job. That's not how it works. I mean, if currently our economy is not growing, there isn't enough jobs in the economy, and therefore we can't say everyone must go and find a job. And another thing is that some people, some SASA recipients, actually have jobs, some of them, but you find that the job is not enough to, sustain the household and all of that. Um, Another thing is that with social grants, these social grants are not enough. 370 rand. I mean, Kuhle, just be realistic with me here. 370 rand a month or 570 rand a month cannot take you through the whole month. That's the reality of it. In fact, if anything, that social grant must be increased. There
Why?
is no other way because
Wait,
because it's
hang
not
on.
enough.
You
There are
wait.
no
You are saying
jobs in this country.
wait. You but
If
you're already
40% of people in this country, okay,
you are already going against your point. You are saying there are no jobs. You are saying we need to increase grants. Grants is one of the biggest expenditures our government has. It's one of the biggest expenditures our government has. Now, tell me, where on earth is the government going to get more money for grants? That's my simple question to you. Very simple. How on earth are you going to tax people more till everyone leaves? Is that the plan? That okay, you are being taxed 45%, but because oh gosh, we need to pay Simpiwe in the township because he just sits around. No, we can't pay him 370. Let's pay him, I don't know, 1,000. Just understand it's impractical. You just said there are no jobs. So where is the money for the grants going to come from? Because
correct.
grants does not create jobs. Grants is just a system to be a slave of the government. That's my view. Can continue
Look,
where you are.
Kuhle,
Just wanted to ask that question.
I mean, I'm saying what I'm saying is the grant needs to be expanded. There should be more funding for grants. And look, where we're going to get the money is from this very, very unequal system that we live in and this very unequal economy. We can't just tell people, go find a job, go start a business, go do this, go do this. Look, no one wakes up in the morning and says, today I'm going to beg for no reason. They probably tried finding a job. The social grant is not enough, as I said. Where we're going to get the funds for that simply is, I'm not supporting the idea of having this current government that we have now. They are not. The economy is not growing as we speak, right? The only way to fund more people is by creating more jobs, and then is the job of the country. We need to get more investors to invest in the economy so that we have more jobs, more people, less people will then depend on the social grant, and then maybe we could say, since less people are beneficiaries of the social grant, maybe we should increase the price for those who still cannot find a job. We have the highest unemployment rate in the world right now, Kushli. And I think that's something that we need to keep into consideration that no one chooses to be unemployed. No
The
one
highest
just sits
unemployment
down and
due to
says,
socialist policies.
literally, no, it's not.
It
Capitalism
is.
is not the
It
solution
is.
here. We've
It is.
seen what
And I can tell you
capitalism
this.
has done to our country.
Even ANC veterans, which I'm not a fan of ANC, you know that very well, have said it. And I was actually listening to Dr. Francois Cronier,
Hmm.
another analyst, who says the ANC was a very stable party during the 1994-2008 years. And that was because they were a centrist party. They were not tapping into the socialist
Hmm.
movement. No, they really weren't. Yes, BE existed. Cool. But BE in and of itself is capitalism. I disagree with it. It's a form of capitalism that just breaks a society because it's got social engineering. We'll talk about that later. Now, they came with socialist policies: free electricity, free water, free this, free that, free. Just understand this: there is no world where free exists. There's no system that can support free. Absolutely no system. Hence, I've been saying that even NSFAS, the students need to pay back the money. You cannot just study and go and go. And what's worse is you will study and then, Lord and behold, you don't even stay in South Africa. You leave the country as a whole. Who are you? You are not even an asset to the country that you got the resources from. No, quite literally. In any normal country. And
Kuhle,
that's not
Kuhle,
a Kuhle being spiteful. That is a Kuhle saying, go to Ethiopia. Go and check what's happening in Ethiopia. Ethiopia has got Ethiopian Airlines. The Ethiopian Aviation University is funding young pilots to study aviation, right? People come in, and poor people, because I mean, Ethiopia is a third world poor country, worse than South Africa, can go on. Now, funds people. You don't pay a cent. All Ethiopian Airlines pilots never paid to go to school. How they pay is they sign a 10-year working contract with Ethiopian Airlines that states that you must work for this airline for the next 10 years. And also, your salary is not going to be the same as an SAA pilot because remember, we paid for you to go to school. Remember, we have to get the money from somewhere. If Ethiopia, a third world country, can understand that, can understand the basics of economics, it's the basics. It's the basics. It's not about, I want black kids to suffer or I want kids in townships not to go to school. No. I'm saying, cool, continue with NSFAS. But as soon as you're done, pay back the money so that other kids can also benefit from it. So that we can have a cycle, we can have a system that can be able to live by itself. Because I'm going to ask you now, where do you think the money from NSFAS comes from? No, just logically. Before fees must fall in 2016.
I mean, it is
Before fees,
taxpayers' money. We know it's taxpayers' money.
yes. But before fees must fall in 2016, right? In
In
2015.
fact,
Um, mhm.
mm,
I'm listening. I'm listening.
look, Kusha, in fact, I believe that education should be free. Tertiary education. Look, I agree with NSFAS on what they're doing. NSFAS, not having to pay back the money, but I believe that tertiary education should be free. If we can have free secondary and primary school education, why can't we have free tertiary education? And I
But
think
how's that free primary and secondary
I don't
school
know. I
education?
don't know what is the problem with.
It's BS. It's BS. I
Look,
can tell you
hear
the
me out.
answer.
Hear me out.
Mhm. Okay.
Look, I'm just gonna say this, Kusha. I don't know
Right. Right.
why the capitalists are afraid of being equals with people. What is wrong with socialism? What is wrong with that? What is wrong with creating a better South Africa for every single citizen, for everyone to
Can I ask you, are
benefit
you Christian?
from the resources of their country as they should?
Are you Christian?
No, I'm
Are
not.
you Christian? What are you?
No, no. I
Okay.
am, I wouldn't say atheist, but yeah.
Okay. My statement to you goes exactly where I say the left doesn't understand the way the world works. And it's very simple, right? As in, even during biblical times, whether you're Muslim, I don't care whether you believe in the Quran or you believe in the Torah or you believe in the Bible. The bottom line is the olden day world always had inequality. There is no society that's going to be 100% equal. Please, show me a society that has got everyone equal. Because tell me, why must I study to be a doctor and the cleaner must live the same life that I'm living as a doctor? No. Just think
Because I
about
think
this thing
I'm not saying
realistically.
I'm not a communist. I'm not a
Yes,
communist. What I'm saying is we
right.
need to have. I'm not saying a doctor and a cleaner should have the same salary. You're not understanding what I mean. I'm
Yes,
just saying
yes.
what is so scary about everyone not actually being equal as such? What is wrong with everyone having equal opportunity? What is wrong with introducing policies like triple BEE in order to correct the issues of the past? What is wrong with that? I don't understand that. And that's because we can't have a democratic country and say we have political freedom, we have the right to vote, and that's all we get from our democracy. We need to have economic freedom. Most black people do not have access to the economy. They cannot buy for themselves. They cannot
Can
be
I give
active
you an answer?
participants in this
Can
economy
I
of
give you an
ours.
answer to
They
that?
are limited.
Can I
No,
give you an answer to that?
no, but hear me out. Can I just
Okay.
wrap up
Okay.
my argument?
Yes.
We are still, like in apartheid, still have most of black people limited to small jobs like being a cleaner, being a gardener, and all of those things. Why can't we have free education? Why can't we have social grants to correct the issues of the past? Why don't we have land? redistribution in order to give back land to the people. You get what I mean?
No,
And
no, I don't
also,
get it.
people might argue that
I don't get it.
how is it not
So
right to correct the issues of the past?
can I tell you,
How is it not right to
no,
correct
no, no
the inequalities
amount
of
of
apartheid through
in
policy?
your course to correct the injustices of the past, you cannot use social engineering. I will give you a story, and I think I've said it to you before, of Malaysia and Singapore, where both were colonized. Right? Let's especially Black South Africans. Please, let's not run away from the fact that colonization, including slavery, is not a racist thing. It was the way the world was 400 years ago. Shaka Zulu had slaves, like it or not. Like it or not, you can stare at me for all you want. Shaka Zulu had slaves. He had slaves, including Mansa Musa. The kings throughout Africa were selling their people to the West. That was the way the world worked. Now, as soon as Black South Africans get to understand that the world does not work using social engineering, it doesn't. Like it or not, yes, it's cool to have a heart and say, I feel for you. I understand that. But economics does not feel for you. Economics is a real thing. It's a bread and butter issue. This is not a game of cards. I'm going to be very quick and simple with you. Malaysia, Singapore were one country. What separated the two? Nationalists, capitalists, all sorts, right? Different economic policies. That's what separated the two at the end of the day. Singapore was a dirt poor nation. People were defecating on the streets and all sorts. What did Lee Kuan Yew say? He says, I'm going to get here. I'm going to fix the mentality of the people. We are going to work hard. There was no grants in Singapore, by the way. We are going to work hard. Everyone is going to work hard. We are going to become world-class citizens. You guys are going to clean the streets. You guys are going to behave. You guys are going to open up the market to investors to come. You guys are going to be investor friendly. No more unions that make it difficult for bosses to hire people. No minimum wage, but livable wages. Right? That's what he says. And look at Singapore today. It's a first world country. It's a thriving economy. And then look at the neighbors, Malaysia. They are a third world country. Actually, for those that don't know, Malaysia started BEE before South Africa, for those that don't know. And when Malaysia started BEE, they suffered for a very long time. They had their own form of BEE. That system in and of itself was never meant to work, because that system tries to achieve something which is called equity. And can I tell you what equity does? When equity is trying to improve a certain demographic in society, it leaves many behind. Look at colored townships as an example. I love listening to you, Tokeno. You will tell me that, oh, we need to improve this, we need to improve that. Yes, we'll speak of black people's problems, but let's look at colored people's problems. Colored people are left behind because of policies such as BEE, and that is the truth, whether you like it or you don't like it. Colored townships are worse than a black township. I know you'll think because I don't live in a township, maybe I don't know the realities of those in a township, but trust me, I pass through townships quite a lot to know how people live like there. And I will tell them the same thing that I'm telling you. Poverty, understand this, as crazy as it sounds. If you are born poor, that is not your fault. But if you die poor, it was a choice
Correct.
and it was your fault. I'm very sorry to say that to you. It is your fault if you die poor. There is so many ways that South Africans are able to make money. And I've quoted them for you. Uber drivers are making money through, most Uber drivers in Gauteng happen to be foreign nationals that came here with close to no money, by the way. They work as garden service people. They build up from being gardeners, from being domestic helpers inside houses, and they earn way below a minimum wage, foreign nationals, right? And that's a form of exploitation in and of itself. But cool, they
Kuhle,
come, they
please
work hard.
look
A South African,
again.
a South
Nobody.
African is not willing to take that job. When a South African goes and becomes a gardener or becomes a domestic worker, they start to complain, oh boss, the hours are too long. Oh no, the money is too little. I need to be paid more. This is minimum wage. The problem is you don't respect your rights. And you think business has got time for that. You think business has got time for your socialist understanding of the world that, oh no, you are so poor, let's
Kuhle,
give
hear
you an
me
extra
out.
1,000.
Kuhle, hear me out.
1,000 from which tree?
Look, I think
Right.
the Again, you're oversimplifying the reality of black South Africans, of South Africans of color in general, because we cannot compare us to countries like Singapore and Malaysia. Look, apartheid ended about 30 years ago for us. That is literally recently, okay? I was
Japan
born
became a
about
first
15
world
years
country
after
after a
apartheid.
world war. Japan became a first world country within 30 years from being a junk country after World War II. Eh? Just check that out.
You
So
cannot
what's
correct
stopping the
300
USSA?
years.
Right, I'm listening.
You cannot stop 300 years. You cannot stop 300 years of
Right.
colonialism in 30 years.
Hmm.
You cannot do that. It
Do
is
you know that
highly
the rest of the
impossible.
world was also colonized?
Do I
Before
agree
even
with you
just
that the
after?
country has systematic issues? Yes. Do I? But hear me out. Hear me out.
Right,
I know that
right.
our country has systematic issues that we need to look at. BEE, for in fact, I think I agree with you in terms of BEE that BEE is a form of a capitalist type of thing that's going on there. But it needs to be reformed, not scrapped, reformed in order to allow more South Africans, black South Africans, women, people with disabilities, the previously disadvantaged population to be active participants in the economy. What the ANC has done with that policy is to benefit their friends so that they can all eat together and have fun with with state funds, giving what can I giving what do you call these things, tenders to their friends. That's not how triple BE is supposed to work, how BE is supposed to work. We are all supposed to have, as black South Africans, working class South Africans, no child in South Africa deserves to live in poverty. Let's talk about poverty. What shaped poverty in this country? What formed the township? Colonialism, apartheid, the 1913 Land Act. That act, those things have not been corrected properly. Again,
Hang on,
as
hang on,
a patriot,
hang
as
on, hang
a
on, hang on. You just said what formed the township, right? You just asked a
correct.
question.
We know that the
What formed?
1913 Land Act formed that. We know that
Wait,
apartheid segregation
I'm going.
policies did that.
Can I tell you what happened clearly? Now, what happened was during apartheid, as the economy is growing, the leaders of that time of the union and of the republic, because remember, South Africa has been through many stages. South Africa has been a union, has been actually was actually a colony
Correct.
before a union. It was a
Yeah.
colony, became a union, then became a republic, then became what we have now, which is
Yes.
democracy. Now, during the phase of the union to the republic, what happened was there was a discussion to say that we need black people to come into the economy because the economy was growing beyond the amount of white people that actually existed, right? And because during those days, black folks used to live in what we call Bantustans, right, or homelands. Now, the homelands were very far from the cities, very, very far from the cities. And there was the realization that you need to build a township, which is because all townships are close to cities, like it or not. They are not in the city. I'm not saying they're in the city. I mean, yes, they're under municipality, but they are closer to a city than a Bantustan, if you know where Bantustans are historically. Now, that is how they came in, because that was the importance of the apartheid government realizing that, okay, we need black people to be part of the economy. That literally, it was literally that. It was literally, they realized that you need them to be part of the
No,
economy. Because
no,
the economy,
no.
no, I'm being serious. I'm
That
not
was not
making
the
this up.
idea of apartheid.
No, no, no.
That is not the idea of. No, you are, because hear me out. No, I know
Right.
how a township was formed. I know, thousands of South Africans had to travel from Bantustans, your Vanderland or whatever they were called at the time, and you had to come live. Look, you can see Sandton from Alexandria, and what I'm trying to say here is it's wrong for you to say, or rather not wrong, but your argument lacks context, because they are not saying that black people need to be part of the economy. What they were saying is, look, we need black people to do jobs that our people don't want to do. That's the simple thing. Who wants to be a servant? They did that to our
No,
people.
no, no.
They did that to our people. Our people did not have good jobs. Our people were not CEOs. Our people did not sit in companies. Only a very small amount of people lived that experience. Only a very small amount of black South Africans were middle class South Africans under apartheid. Now, the people that are in the townships now were
So what
servants
do you say
and
of
were
them in Mashaba?
slaves of the apartheid regime
What do you
getting
say of
paid
Herman
under
Mashaba?
wage. That money did not even buy anything for the people.
What do you say of Herman Mashaba? Herman
Pardon?
Mashaba became a millionaire during apartheid. What do you say of Herman Mashaba? He became a millionaire during apartheid. Do you know that the first
Look, as I
casino?
said,
Do you know? Wait,
that is not the
hang on. Do you know that the first casino in South Africa, the first casino, right, is Sun City? You know that. Now, Sun City, before it became a holiday resort, as what we know today, what you call was a casino built by Saul Kesner. Where was Sun City built? In a homeland in Boputa, Tswana, because the South African Republic did not allow for gambling. Now, tell me, how possibly do you think that white people did not see the value of black people during that point in time? I'm just asking you the question from a logical perspective.
Kushe,
Yes,
Kushe.
racism existed. I'm not
Again,
disputing that racism
here's what I'm
existed.
saying.
Don't get me wrong. Yes,
What you
but
no, but you're ignoring economic racism. I think that should be a thing. Actually, it should be a word. In fact, it should be a term because then now you're saying, um, look again. I don't want to use the American context of things, but Americans have a term to call people that are assimelated or into white society. They call them house Negroes. House Negroes behave the same way that the master do. And some people, look, when I study history, I try to understand the very basic of things in terms of that. The white apartheid government, what they did was they used to act like they were friends with certain black people. They were friends with presidents of countries like Zambia or some southern African countries to make them look like they care about African people. Of course, there's only going to be maybe two or three black millionaires that were formed during apartheid. Understand what I mean? And
no,
therefore,
I
that
don't.
is ignoring an entire population of black people that are not millionaires, that are not billionaires. It's like you're asking them, what was stopping you from being a millionaire at the time? That's the type of question that you're asking.
No,
It's like
no.
you're
Can I tell you
ignoring
something?
the economic situation at the
Do you know of
time.
the XDC?
That black people were
Yes.
not active members of the economy.
Did you know of the XDC? The XDC. It's the Xhosa
No?
Development Corporation, right? So it used to be called the TDC, or not the CD, the CDC, which was the Ciskei. So back in apartheid, like you said, there were homelands. Putatswana, one of the popular homelands was the Ciskei, where the Xhosa people lived, which was led by General Matanzima, right? So Matanzima, during those days, what happened was he realized that black South Africans, or black people that were living in the homeland, right, were living in poverty, quite literally. Were living in poverty. And he noticed that there were a couple of people that had the spirit of hustling and entrepreneurship around. He noticed very well. So he then decided, I'm going to tax everyone. Because remember, homelands were like different countries. Because there was even a border between a homeland and mainland South Africa. So they were sort of, they functioned as different countries in a way, or de facto states. So you could have your own laws. And Matanzima decides that I'm going to now tax the Xhosas, everyone, whether you're poor or rich, I don't care. I'm going to use an example. I will tax you 10 Rand. Out of that 10 Rand, that will go into what we call the Xhosa Development Corporation. And then Matanzima said, with this money, we are going to use it to buy businesses from white people. That's what he says. And they did, by the way. We're going to use it to buy a McDonald's. Let's say we find a McDonald's down the street. It's owned by Van der Merwe. We go to Mr. Van der Merwe, we say, hey, sir, look, we want to buy your shop from you as the Xhosa Development Corporation. Um, what do you call it? We've got money together. We are going to buy this shop. We don't want it for free. We're not looking for shares for free. This is not BEE. We're here to buy it. Remember, people have been paying through taxes. And they go and buy that shop. After buying it, the money that is made from that shop was used to upskill the community. That was actually the peak time of Xhosa development, just in case you didn't know. The peak time of Xhosa development happened during apartheid. Sounds crazy. Sounds crazy if you think about it. Because Xhosa people now in the Eastern Cape with socialist policies are going through rivers to go from one end to the other end because there's no bridge and there's no road. Their peak development happened during apartheid. Sounds crazy.
Look,
I mean, I'm not saying I'm supporting apartheid. Now, you look at such a
Kuhle,
system. Wait, hang on.
you are,
You look at such a system.
you
It
are
tells you, look,
protecting economic
how?
exclusion.
How? How?
You are.
How? My thing to you
Hear
is,
me
if
out.
you're listening to me very well, if
Kuhle,
you're
you're
listening to
talking
me
about a
very well,
specific group of people. You're speaking about Xhosa people. You are not talking about other black South Africans. What about them?
even
Look,
Bokota
apartheid
Tshwana,
was not
even Bokota
manufactured
Tshwana.
just to look. The idea of apartheid is they're saying, no, no, hear me out. Apartheid, what they were saying was not saying that we should be socially excluded. The idea of apartheid, if you hear people saying this today, people that still protect apartheid, they say apartheid was just an idea of separate development between cultures or different groups of people because they believe people are different. Those homelands that they created, as you said, they were de facto states. You can't have a state that does not have money. You can't have a state that does not have an economy. You can't have a state where most of its land you can't even farm on or anything. Look, I'm from Limpopo back there at home. I'm pretty sure that place was a homeland before. The living situation of many people there is just horrible. The land there is horrible, right? You can say Xhosa people became millionaires at that time or whatever. That's fine. That's the Xhosa people, right? But what about the rest of the South African people?
Wait. Can I ask you a question? Because you're going to speak about Xhosa people, this and that. I just want to just say quickly, on the side, guys, I've given out free 5 memberships of 10 minutes with Kuhle to a couple of people. And the people that have won the free 5 memberships happen to be Old King Red, happens to be Nameless Gamer 5953, Zayli87, Vickers the Beer, as well as Tracy Otto. They have got 1 month free membership of me um, for the next month. So do enjoy that 1 month free membership and all the benefits it comes with. Okay, and going back to, oh, also just to mention, guys, I have put
Okay.
up a goal. We are funding Turning Point SA. Please do check up the goal. It is 35 Rand if you would like to contribute to the goal. Nonetheless, back to the debate. As I'm saying, look at Orania,
Right.
right?
As
You might
the
have,
Okay,
you might
can I
have
get my
your,
my point across, please?
okay, I thought you were done. Okay, continue.
Okay. No, but like I was saying,
Right.
if apartheid works for black people and worked for the people in terms of the economy, our people wouldn't have fought against it. We wouldn't have fought against it.
Do you know that there
Black
were more?
consciousness
Do you
wouldn't be a
know that
thing.
there are more white billionaires that were created in democracy than they were in apartheid?
Now, no,
I'm just
that
letting
it's
you know
fine.
that.
That it's okay. It's okay. I hear what you're saying. That's fine. But here's the thing with this democracy of ours. Look, we have beautiful laws. We have a beautiful constitution. The problem is the government's implementation and interpretation of those laws and policies. These laws and policies that they usually fail to implement properly or do not implement at all. These types of things are the things that lead to having more billionaires that continue to take from the people of the country. Black people in this country do not even have access to majority of the things in this country, where you have thousands, probably maybe not even, let's not say hundreds. We have a couple of billionaires and millionaires in this country that keep taking from the people. The people do not have access to resources. The people do not benefit from the resources of their country. What do you have to say about that, Kuhle? What do you have
So
to say
can I?
about that?
I can tell you that in a very short and simple question, or not even question, answer actually, which is the ANC has failed. The ANC has got
Correct.
socialist policies that are not going to work. I don't care what you say. Whether you, even if you had to bring in the EFF today, in fact, you're going to kill this country because there is no investor that trusts the EFF. Even the Chinese investors don't. And I know this, not from guessing, mind you, not from guessing, mind you. I sit at some of these tables. Tokelo, I don't think your microphone is on, eh? Because I can see your lips are moving, but your mic, the sound is not coming out, just saying. But
Can you hear me?
nonetheless, I sit. Yeah, I can hear you. So,
Okay, perfect.
oh, sorry. I'm watching the duel live on the YouTube thing, so that's a bit slow. So it actually confused me. So I had to come back to Riverside, and Riverside, yeah, perfect. Sorry, we're actually doing this
Okay,
side. So
perfect.
nonetheless, right. I'm going to tell you in a very quick and simple answer, which is, guys, no amount of social engineering is going to work, right? I can even come and give you businesses in the townships. You will still fail at running them because you're not taught how to run a business. It's true, whether you like it or not. There have been farms that have been expropriated. I'm telling you, it's expropriation. There was back in the early 2000s, we had the willing buyer, willing seller model, right? Which the government used instead of expropriation without compensation. Basically, no, that's the government. They used that. Hang on.
Kuhle,
The government
like,
used
hear me
that.
out. Hear me out.
Hang on, wait for
Kuhle,
me.
you can't say. Okay.
I'm still finishing my
Okay.
point. Hang on. I waited for you.
Okay. Perfect.
The
Okay.
government
Go on.
buys land from people, right? Buys land back in the 2000s. It's what they're doing. They're buying land from white people. It's not Kuhle making this up. It's what the government decided to do. After buying land for people, they went and took black farmers that had applied to be farmers. Oh, you apply. Oh, you want to be a farmer? Okay, you come. And then they just leave you there to run a farm. Those farms failed. There's a farm in Zirast, one of the biggest farms in the southern hemisphere, which was expropriated. It has failed today. Buildings are collapsing. It's owned by a group of black people that didn't know how to farm. And can I tell you what the black people say? This is not Kuhle saying this. This is what the black people that own these farms are saying today. We blame government for not teaching us how to run farms.
That's fine. And correctly, yes.
No.
Correct. That's fine.
It's not that simple.
It's true.
Because,
but it's true.
Can I tell you something? You only value something if you have worked for it. And I can tell you that for free. You will not value something that you got as a gift. If I today, Tokelo, I buy you a car and I say, you are my friend outside of this debate, I'm going to buy you a car for Christmas. Cool. You're happy. Thank you, Kuhle, for the car. It's a free car. But it's different to when you as Tokelo, decide I'm going to buy this car for myself. Because you've worked hard for it. You have sweated. You have gone through trials and tribulations to get that car. You didn't just.
I think that's what white people did to acquire the farm. I think that's what white people did to acquire the farm.
So can I wait? Hang on. Can I ask you a question again? When you say that the same question that you're saying now, statement you're making now, who was buying farms during Shaka Zulu's time? During colonization? No, just tell me. It always fascinates me when people say that white people stole land. Do you know that Zulus came from Cameroon? No, hang on. Do you know that Zulu people migrated from Cameroon? Nguni people as a whole, the whole tribe, the whole of
Lemba.
Okay, hang on.
Hear me out. Hear me out.
Hang on.
I
waited for you. Hang on. Wait.
Okay.
The whole of the Nguni tribe came from Northern Africa. Africa. They migrated down to South Africa, right? That's why you even find them in Zim and find Swaziland and Mozambique. You find Shona people who all came from down there. The only indigenous people from South Africa are the Khoisan. No one else. You cannot call yourself indigenous here. No one else is an indigenous person. So when you move down here, and when Vasco da Gama comes here with a ship, and when Jan van Riebeeck comes here, what's the difference between Jan van Riebeeck coming with a ship and a bunch of guys walking down? All of us are guests on the land. We find the land is vacant. We take the land. And during that time, just wait for me. I'm about to finish my point now. During that time, it was, and remember I made an earlier statement which you shook your head at when I made the statement. I said to you that, what do you call it? Slavery was a practice of the past, such as colonization. Shaka Zulu used to colonize the Pedi people. I'm not making this up. You can go and check it out. Shaka Zulu colonized Pedi and Sotho tribes. He made them slaves. What makes him different to what Paul Kruger was doing? What makes him different?
What you're doing is protecting colonialism. It's protecting white supremacy. That's what you're doing now.
It's not white supremacy. It was the way the world worked back then. No, can I ask you a question?
But where are we now because of that? Where are we now because of that?
Hang on. Let me ask you a question. When you say I'm protecting white supremacy and I'm protecting all of this, right? Let's park what I said of that. You attack that as that goes on. I just want to get this, the way the world moves, right? So the world starts off with slavery. People were slaves even during Jesus' time, if you read the Bible. And trust me, there were no black people in that region of the world, right? It was Arabic people. People in that region of the world. Jesus was Arabic, if you didn't know that, right? Even Israelis are Arabic. Now,
Kuhle,
those.
may I please?
Wait, hang on.
Okay.
I want to just move with you so that
Yes.
you can agree with me on this one point. Now the world moves
Mm,
from slavery to colonization, right? Colonization is done even by Morocco. Morocco colonized a couple of countries. South Africa also colonized Namibia, if you didn't know this. Nonetheless, colonization is done even by tribes. Everyone is just colonizing. Chinese, blah, 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 blah. It's the way of the world. Now we all move on. We realize that, okay, guys, this thing of colonization is wrong. No, the world gets to a stage where colonization starts to drop off, but apartheid supersedes colonization, right? And
mm,
do you agree with me? Apartheid
yes.
lived beyond colonization because it
Yes.
starts the colony and then it's apartheid. Cool. The world says, okay, we're changing. We're changing. Now we're starting to open up. Black people should have rights, right? That's how it's presented. Oh, everyone should have rights now. After saying everyone should have rights, we go to a conversation of saying, okay, this is my body, it's my choice. Abortion should be allowed. I should be able to abort the child in me. Okay.
Of course.
And I don't
It's
want
not
to,
a
I'm not
child.
saying that the conversation is, sorry?
It's not a child
Hang on.
yet. A fetus is not
It
a
is a
child
child.
yet.
It is a child. It is a
It's not
child.
a
It's
child.
breathing.
Can
It's a
it breathe?
fetus.
Does it have eyes? Does it have ears?
No, but it's a child. It's breathing. It's a living thing.
Kuhle,
It's a
first
living
of
thing.
all,
What do you
you
think you're
want to
killing?
scrap. You
What are you
want.
killing?
Hear me
When
out,
you kill
Kuhle.
something,
Kuhle.
you're killing a living thing.
Let's talk about economics. Let's talk
Do you
about
agree with me?
economics in context of
Wait, hang
what
on.
you're
I was
saying.
not yet
Hear me
done with
out.
my transition of the
Okay,
world
make your
stated.
point. Make a
Yes.
conclusion of your point so I
Now
could
we get to
answer
a point
everything.
where we say, now hang on. We get to a point where we say, there's the LGBTQI community and all sorts, right? Which is cool. Such communities were not allowed 100 years ago,
Yeah.
even amongst black people, even
No,
amongst white
that's
people.
not true.
They were not allowed. No, true, they
That's
were
not
not
true.
allowed.
With
Go
African
and check.
people,
Do you
African
think?
people. Do you know African people? Do you
Yes,
know in West Africa being gay was normal? It was even a part of many cultures and communities. Do your research in African history, you'll find that. This
I
is the
know,
history
but
that
I'm
they
talking
try to
about
hide from
South
us.
African tribes. What talk about the world in general. You cannot use one tribe you cannot compare one tribe to the rest
You
of the
did
world.
that.
How
You
do you
just
think
did
a
that
king,
with Xhosa people and
even,
apartheid. You said that the Xhosa people
yes,
create a trust
but I also
to
used
invest money or
Kutokwana.
something
And I
along
was
those lines.
using
That's
that.
what you did.
I'm using that
So
as
how's
a
it
form of
different when I do
motivation
that?
to say that the
How's it?
XDC was able to change things for black people and black people's output on making money. Now, my question
Kusha,
to you
please hear
is,
me out. Okay.
I'm asking you the question now. Do you acknowledge that the world goes through different phases and changes of saying, listen, something that was not normal 20 years ago is now normal today? And I'm going to use an example about myself now. It's a quick example. When I was a kid, and it's a real example, I was part of a play, like a concert in school. It's a true example. I'm not making this up. I was
Mm.
asked to act as a monkey, right? And back then, everyone laughed. Everyone laughed. Look at the face you made now. Everyone laughed because it was a joke. It was honestly a joke. There was nothing racist to it. Even I can say it was not a racist thing. But today, it is not socially correct. You can go back and ask your parents or your uncles about how things were done. What were the things that were done back then that can't be done now? And that's what I'm talking about, the social correctness. That let us also have that in mind to say that certain things was a social norm back then. That is not a social norm right now. That's I'm saying. Do you agree with that? Do you agree with it?
No,
The same way black people had a culture where women had to kneel when they gave their husbands food. It was a social norm back then. Do you agree?
Kusha,
Do you
again,
agree? Yes or no? Do
oversimplification.
you agree?
No,
Yes or
because
no?
you're oversimplifying. You cannot trap me into agreeing with what you're saying by oversimplifying reality. That's not how it works. Again, let's go back to your point on African people colonizing each other and all of that. Look, I'm not a native South African. I am Lemba. My ancestors traveled down here a couple of hundred thousands of years ago from Israel, right? And I'm not saying that we did not colonize each other, we did not do all of these things to each other. With African people, when they came to colonize, they did not wipe out total populations. Look at what Germany did in Namibia. Look at what white South Africans did in South Africa. The Khoi people, they don't have their language anymore. They do not have.
They did wipe out populations. I'm very sorry to say that to you. Shaka Zulu wiped out thousands of Sutu generals. Out if he didn't make you a slave, you were dead. And he kept the
Kuhle,
women.
you are not hearing what I'm saying. You're not hearing what I'm
No,
saying. That's not what I'm
I'm
saying,
saying
Kuhle.
you.
That
I'm
is
telling
not
you
what
that
I'm saying.
what you're trying to say that one group is more evil than the other's false.
Correct. It is
Both are
true.
very
Because
evil.
now white people, you can even look at West Africa. France is still benefiting from the colonization of West Africa. You look at South Africa now, who runs majority of the industry here. Now, the Africans are also pushing an agenda as well. We look at what they're doing now, spreading lies about our democracy, lying, the face of the world. It's part of it. It's part of it.
Listen,
Look, Kuke, when you
listen.
have a system, no, Kuke, hear me out. Maybe, maybe if you have a more just economy, maybe you have a better economy that everyone has access to it. Maybe if you have a research of some sort and say, okay, from now on we're a capitalist country, go, right? But we can't say we need to be a capitalist country now where thousands, not even thousands, millions of black South Africans were left behind as a result of apartheid, right?
Can I ask
We
what system do
can't
you suggest we should use?
now. We need a socialist
Yes.
country. We live in a
Okay.
socialist country,
Can
but
you
not
advise
with
me?
not enough.
Can you advise me of which country uses socialism that's successful? I'm asking you the question. I'm not going to. I'm just asking you questions now, so
Kushi,
that you can strengthen
Kushi.
up your argument. I'm asking you which
This is not
country
about
do
other
you know?
countries. This
I'm
is not
asking
about
you.
other
No,
countries.
no.
This is
It
not
is
about
about.
other
It's about
countries.
taking a
It
lesson
is.
from everyone. Remember,
Kushi,
remember, remember,
South Africa's
remember.
history is so unique to the rest of the world. It's not the same.
No, no. Hang on. You
Literally,
can't go
our
there. You
colonization
can't. I'm
ended
asking
30 years
you.
ago.
I'm asking you a simple question. Which country has used socialism and is successful today? It's a simple
Which
question.
country has used extreme capitalism? Which country has used extreme capitalism and became successful? Tell me one. Tell me one
America,
country that's successful. No.
America,
Do you know about
the
no, no,
UK.
no, no. Remember,
They have.
remember, remember America in the
Okay.
1930s, in the early 1920s. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Do you remember what happened in that
Yes.
Axis thingy?
Yes.
Now
But how did the economy start up? How did the
that
economy get restarted? Which goes back to what
Kuche,
I was telling you earlier on. No, hang on. How did the
to
economy
benefit
get
who?
restarted?
To benefit who? The
Hang
capitalists,
on.
right?
Hang on.
To
Hang on.
benefit the capitalists.
How did the
Let's
economy
not
get restarted?
the
How did the
economics
economy?
the
That's my
economics
question to you.
no hear me
Remember,
out Kuche.
the
The
American
economic success
society
of the United States of
used
America
a
does
lot of
not benefit
credit.
all the
Remember,
people of
during the
America.
1920s,
There is inequality in the United States of America.
rates, remember,
Capitalism
during the
doesn't work.
1920s, remember, during the
Capitalism does
1920s,
not work.
remember, during the 1920s, the the United States economy collapsed due to a lot of credit. Credit,
Mhm.
right? It was credit
Yes,
that killed the economy.
yes, correct.
Now, they during that period, right?
Driven by what? Extreme capitalism. Don't leave that part out.
Hang on,
It's very
hang on,
important.
hang on,
Driven by
hang on,
extreme
hang on.
capitalism. That is
No,
the most
no,
important part of it.
no,
Yes,
hang on. Hang
yes.
on. You the thing is, you're not waiting for me to answer the same statement that you've just made. That is incorrect.
Because
Now,
you're
what happened was,
oversimplifying the argument.
no, I'm not.
Speak
Now,
about it. Say,
what happens is,
okay,
hang on. You know, I've been
speak,
saying
Kuche.
hang on, and in my hang on, saying hang on, I could have made my point. Now, during that period, the American government was giving people grants, which is true. They were giving them food, they were giving them grants. There was even what they called the APC program, right? Because everyone was just, so dirt poor. There were shanty towns, this and that, right? Everyone was getting grants.
Hoovervilles.
People huh? Yeah,
They
poor
were
people
named
back then.
Hoovervilles, the shanty towns.
Yes,
That
yes,
was
still.
post.
Yes, but
Correct.
wait,
You
hang
see
on,
now,
hang on,
hear
hang
me
on, hang
out.
on, hang on. Please wait
Kuche,
for me just to finish.
can I just
I'm
no? I just
asking
want to
you.
add on your point.
Okay,
Let me add
okay,
on
go
that
ahead.
point. I'm not saying I'm
Wait, can
not
I
going.
just say something
Look,
quickly? Can I just, as
okay,
someone
okay.
that's just sent money? Thank you, Berto. Thank you for your 70 Rand. She says, Berto saying, Kuhle, either your volume is too soft or your guest is too loud. It's not balanced. Okay, I'll have to check that out, Berto. I'll actually send that to Songezo, our technical guy at the back. Yeah, you can continue, Takelo. Thank you.
Okay, hear me out. President Hoover was the president. I think if I'm not mixing these two up, President Hoover,
Yes.
President, okay, yeah, President Hoover was president of the United States of America at the time of the Great Depression. And what he did was he actually lost the election totally, really bad. After he said no, he believes that the economy will reset itself. He believes in capitalism is going to let the country fix itself. That was his idea of fixing the American economy. And therefore, when the Great Depression started, it was like, I'm not going to say anything about it. I'm just going to let it happen. And let's see if the economy will reset itself. And it didn't. Then what happened is that later on, I think a few years later, President Roosevelt was elected president of the United States of America, a Democrat. And what he did was he fixed the economy by introducing social grants, creating jobs funded by the state, right? To rebuild the American economy by building infrastructure, using government programs, and all of those things. And therefore, the American economy started to improve, right? One would argue that the United States of America is a country that values, rather under the Democrats. Regardless whether it's Republicans or it's Democrats, America will always be a capitalist country. What I'm trying to say here is, Kuhle, what restarted the American economy at the time was socialist programs that were used to fix the American economy,
No,
give people
no.
jobs, create
Hang on.
social
Can I
grants
can I
where
please
people
answer you?
social
Can I please answer you?
security.
Can I
Yes.
stop you there because you also stopped me,
Mm,
and I tried to make sure that at least you say enough so that your point
mm,
does somewhat come across. Now, understand
mm.
this very quickly, which is when Roosevelt came in, grants already existed, right? Before, I'm being serious. Go and check this out. They existed. He was actually continuing on the grants. And he realized that even, what was worse, that was under Roosevelt's era, it went from grants to soup kitchens because the grants were too expensive for the American government to keep running, right? So it even got to a point of soup kitchens where it's like, okay, guys, we're at the lowest of the low now. This system already is killing us. This is like our last resort. Roosevelt says, no, what is the solution to this? I'm going to create low skilled jobs. This is what you just said. What you said was correct. He says, I'm going to create low skilled jobs where people are going to work for below minimum wage salaries. And you remember a little bird being me whispering that to you earlier on, saying that we should scrap grants and go for low skilled jobs? I literally said that to you. When Roosevelt introduced low skilled jobs, that was the era where he scrapped grants. You can go and check that out. He eventually said, we will have to stop with the grants and we're transitioning into a phase of low skilled
Kuhle, that's
jobs.
not true
So
because the
people,
Social Security Act is still a thing in the United States of America today.
hang
It's
on.
it's false.
But they,
It's
no,
false.
it's like SASA. It's like SASA. Listen, when I say scrap grants, I'm not
Yes.
saying that he scrapped the grant system as a whole. He scrapped certain grants. It's like now, when Ramaphosa said, if you remember the 370 grants that we're discussing earlier on, that grant was meant
Mm,
for COVID, if you remember, the first time it came out.
yes.
And then
Yes.
after COVID, it was called a COVID relief grant. After COVID, what do you call it? Ramaphosa says, we will change this to an SRD grant now. So it's no longer COVID relief, it's now called Social Relief Distress Grant, right? That's what it's called now. Because it's very difficult for you to take away a grant that you've brought in place. It literally is. It's not even about Ramaphosa here. It's just about the way the world works. Now, Roosevelt starts cutting on certain grants. You can go and check this out. He does not cut on the whole social security system. No, that's not what I'm saying. And there's no country in this world that will do that. Even if you listen to my argument earlier on, I said we need to cut on certain grants. Like we can have a pension grant. I
Please
agree.
name them. Name a few.
We can have the grants that we should have. I'm going to speak about what we must
Mm,
have. We must
mm,
have the pension grant. We must have the child
mm.
grant, right? And then an unemployment grant must only be used for a maximum of not more than 18 months. And why must it not be used for a maximum of not more than 18 months? It's for you to be able to go to town, to be able to submit your CV at different companies, for you to be able to keep yourself up. It's not for you to relax and to rely on the government. It's for
But
you. It
Kuhle,
should be
also you
kept.
said you don't want people to be in the streets and begging for money. So are you saying that they should
No,
not
but you're
also
not
get the
begging for
social
money when
grant
you're
and
looking
not
for a
beg for
job.
money as well?
No. You're not begging for money if you're looking for a job. That is the right
No,
thing.
I'm
When
asking
someone
you,
is
Kuhle, I'm
yes,
asking you, in the process of a
right.
person finding a job, they should live in poverty until they find a job. How should they find a job without being fed? The
Remember, I told you
370 rand is
the
not even
system.
enough for a person. Kuhle, what does
Even hang on,
370 rand buy you?
hang on,
What does 370 rand buy you for
hang
the
on,
whole month? Don't you eat this
hang
week
on.
and next
Do,
week and
do,
then you're
do you
broke
agree with
after?
me? Do you agree with me that most SRD recipients, which is true, whether you agree or not, it's a fact. Most SRD recipients, right, the ones that collect SRD properly, they get the grant properly. So we're talking about the guys that actually deserve it legitimately according to law, not the guys that abuse the
Mm,
system, like someone that just applies for no good old reason. Majority of them have got kids, and majority of them have got kids that receive the child grant, right? You know that. Like there are many homes
mm,
that have got they receive many grants. There'll be homes where the granny gets the pension grant, the children get each child has got they get their child grant, and they put the money together. You agree, right? And the SRD
mm,
grant. You get where I'm going, right?
mm.
Now, I'm saying to you, a thing like a child grant, and I'm gonna be quick with this point, should be kept to two children. It should not be the way it is right now. It should say that we as the government will only fund your first two children. The third one is your choice. No, because why are you having a child while you're poor? No, there is no
Can I say
explanation
this?
for it.
Okay, let me add this. You can't be against abortion and be against children being funded. Now, when these parents have abortions, just so that also let's say they don't want to have kids because they can't afford them, right? You're saying abortion is wrong and abortion should not be done. But what if then I'm pregnant, or a woman is pregnant, or yeah, for example, a woman is pregnant, they know they can't take care of this kid. You're saying they should not
Why don't they use free
abort this
condoms?
child.
The
But then
government, the
now when they
government
have this
provides
child,
free
you're saying they
condoms.
are a
The
strain on the
government, hang
economy,
on,
they are a strain on the government. What are you saying, Kuhle? What are you
The
saying?
government provides free condoms. The government provides free contraceptives. You can get them from the clinic for free lube, free everything,
Okay,
right?
all right,
We're
it's
not
fine.
saying
That's fine.
we're
Kuhle.
not
And
saying don't.
look, we always hear this argument from the far right. That's fine. The government gives
Mm,
condoms. The government does what? The government gives contraceptives. Look,
mm,
people people do have sex, and you know that look, a part of it, if you link the social issue of the country and the economic issue of the country, you know that high unemployment equals more people not having anything to do, and then more people have kids. You get what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Do you agree
mm,
with that?
mm.
Yes. So then people do have children, they do have sex without protection, and they do things, you know, that happens. So now, what is the difference between a person having an abortion and a person preventing the pregnancy before? Because anyway, the outcome is that there will
So,
be no child anyway.
okay,
Because now, Kuhle, let me also say this to you, Kuhle.
mm,
The problem with people that claim they're pro-life is that in reality you're not pro-life, you're pro-birth. You're saying the child should live, but it's okay if the child grows up poor. It's okay if the child does not receive the care that they need. Because now with the statement that you've just made, you say that the social grant should be limited to two children. You're saying that the third child doesn't deserve to receive the social grant, meaning that the child deserves to go hungry. Because now you're saying,
why must you have
no,
a third
don't
child?
abort the
No.
child, but at the same time, your child is a strain on the
Hang on.
economy. What are you saying?
Hang on, brother. The problem with what you are saying, everything that you're saying, and I'll sum it up as what the problem is. You are asking for more rights, but not for more responsibilities. And that's the issue with the left. You cannot demand for more rights and no responsibilities. It cannot be government's job to wait, Token. It cannot be government's job to take care of your children. No, it's wrong. I was literally saying this to the CEO of the Black Business Council, right? Which is a huge organization that champions black business. He says to me, because you know that I do deal with local politics and all that stuff, and we're just asking him
Mm,
about
mm.
what support black businesses need, right? And you're speaking about black. I'm telling you, I said this was my statement to him. It is not government's role to grow your business. Please, we need to get that straight. Government is not there to ensure that your black business succeeds. No, we must be very honest. Even you can go and ask Ramaphosa, not Kuhle. You can go and ask Ramaphosa. They say it themselves. It's not government's role. The government
It
is
is.
like if you
It
ask
is.
Helen Zille. No, hang on. No, Tokelo, wait, hang on. You know, many of you, and this will come to a very important part because you actually released a video about this on TikTok. You did about
Mm,
the wall that's going to be built in Cape Town. Many
yes.
people argue that the DA is, I don't know, racist or whatnot or blah blah
They are
blah. Does
racist.
not care about.
They are
No,
racist.
hang on, hang on.
It is a
Can I ask
racist
you a question?
political party.
Wait, hang on. Have you been to Sandton? Have you been to
Yes,
Sandton?
I've been to Sanctions. Yes, I've been to
Okay.
Sanctions.
Yes. Who develops Sandton? Is it the government or is it private business? Answer the question.
Private
It's either
business.
or.
Private business.
Exactly.
Okay.
Hang on.
Yes.
Yes. Go to
Okay.
Clifton in the Western Cape. Who develops those areas? Is it
The
private business or
capitalists.
is it the government? No,
Look,
that's not an answer. That's not an answer.
Kuhle,
No, Tokelo, hang
Kuhle,
on. That's the problem with you. Don't try and be cheeky.
Kuhle.
Wait, hang on, hang on.
I'm not being
Who
cheeky.
develops
I'm
Clifton?
listening.
Wait.
Go
I'm
on.
asking you. Who develops
Okay.
Clifton? Is it private sector? Remember, if I build a house without government assisting me, even in the township. I'm building it in my private capacity. You agree? Because I got the money from the
Mm.
bank and government never came to my aid. I'm building it in my private capacity. Right. That's why I said, look at Clifton. Clifton is developed by the private sector. It's the private sector. I kid you not. I can come with facts and files. I listen to you. You know, Tokelo, one thing about me is I watch through your video, and not just your videos. There's so many people I listen to about speaking about governance. And I'm very sorry to say, many people don't understand the way government works. Government's job, these are the simple things that government is supposed to do, is to provide electricity, provide decent housing, not luxury housing, decent housing, right? And those are socialist policies. That's not even me, Kuhle the capitalist. I'm saying I'm actually, in a way, indirectly defending the government here. Provide certain basic services. Anything beyond that is actually the government being kind. I'm being honest with you. I'm being honest with you. Because there's a certain cap where the government says this is actually beyond what we expect. That's why if you listen to Helen Ziller said, my job is to make sure that your streets are clean, is to make sure that your road is tarred. And your road I'm talking about in your neighborhood is tarred. I can't deal with housing. She even says, as I'm running for mayor of Johannesburg, I cannot deal with housing. No, listen, I can't deal with housing because housing is a national government function. You should go to the ANC's doorstep if you want to speak about housing. You don't go to provincial government. Actually, you can go to provincial because also provincial does deal with housing. But you cannot go to local governments. Local governments, even an ANC municipality, does not have the budget to deal with housing. And I'm telling you this
Kuhle,
from experience. Wait, hang on.
Kuhle, I hear
I want
you.
you just to...
Kuhle,
No,
just give me a
wait,
chance
listen,
to, to,
wait.
to get my point
Because there are
across.
also
Okay.
people who are asking questions, and I'm answering their questions indirectly through what I'm saying, which is
Okay.
the local government, as an example, I'm using Helen Ziller, has got a draw points like Cape Town. Do you know that the airport, right, the airport in Cape Town, is going to be upgraded? You know that? Chokela, I'm asking you a question. Do you know that the airport in Cape Town is being upgraded? I think you spoke about it, or someone else spoke about it on TikTok. Do you know?
No,
It's a huge,
I didn't
massive
touch on
building.
that. I didn't touch on
Okay,
that.
no, yeah. Okay, if you didn't, but now I'm telling you, it's going to be upgraded. Now,
Mm.
a couple of people are coming and saying, oh, look at the city of Cape Town. The DA whites are now improving the airport, blah, 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 this and that, blah, 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 right? Do you know that the airport is not managed by the city of Cape Town? The airport is managed by a company called Airports Company South Africa, which is a state-owned entity which is run by the ANC. So that decision of improving the airport is not a decision that is done by Cape Town. I'm being honest. It's not a decision
No
that
one
was
is
made
no,
by...
but I did not no, but I'm not
No,
blaming
no, no,
the,
no,
the city of Cape
no,
Town
no.
for
Okay, I'm
upgrading
not
the
saying you're
airport.
blaming. I'm not saying you're blaming them. I never even mentioned your
That's
name in this whole
good.
statement.
Look, okay,
I never
quickly. Let
mentioned
me.
your name.
Can I please say
Hang on,
something? You've
hang
been.
on.
Please give me a chance. You've been
Yes, hang
speaking
on,
for a while
hang
now.
on.
Can I just give me a chance to answer to some of the things
I'm
that you
just
said?
lecturing you on something very important so that when you answer this, include all of these facts in your answers. Don't answer without linking everything together. And then I'm going to come to your point now. You said that the DA building a wall. You said this. You said the DA building a wall between the townships. Remember, when you get out of the airport in Cape Town, the first thing that you meet is the townships, literally. It's
Mm,
the Khayelitsha and Inyanga, they're on either side. Now,
mm,
what do you call it? The DA, or the city of Cape Town rather, because that's
mm.
the government. The city of Cape Town is saying that they are going to build a wall between Inyanga and the highway, right? The highway. They're not saying they're going to build a wall between mainland Cape Town and the township. No, they're saying between that and the highway. That stretch, that is very dangerous. Now, I'm going to let you come in now quickly and you'll explain your side. The reason the wall is being built, and I'm explaining why the wall is being built. The reason the wall is being built is because of crime. That place experiences a lot of crime, and I'm telling you this as someone who goes to Cape Town a lot. Black people from the Western Cape tell me these things. It's not even black people that are part of the DA. I was in an Uber where someone with the Uber driver literally said to me, Kuhle, don't go to Khayelitsha. Don't go to Nyanga. This place is dangerous. He said, don't go there. That wall is meant to deter criminals from hijacking people that are coming out of the airport, whether black or white. Black or white people use the airport, so it's nothing to do with racism or whatnot. Because many people that live in Nyanga also do use the airport. If you didn't know that, by the way, so it's got nothing to do with race. Its main objective is about curbing crime. That's why the wall does not stretch all the way to the CBD. You must actually go and read through that thing. The wall is meant to cover the stretch of the hijacking hotspots on the highway. That's the main objective of the wall. And if you can just, I'm asking you now, if you could just at least submit or sort of share what was your views on the wall, because you shared some interesting thoughts on the wall.
Kuhle, look, please, can I please answer some of the things that you said first before I go to the issue of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
wall?
yeah. No, feel free. Yeah,
Perfect.
feel free.
Yeah. Look, responsibility without resources is not real responsibility. And I'm just going to put it like that. In the issue of the
Explain.
economy.
Explain. No, explain.
Look, you were saying people of color or black people should go find jobs and be members of the economy and do this and do this and do small jobs if it means getting under minimum wage and all of that. We've seen that during apartheid, responsibility without resources, right? We've seen that. Where did that put us? Still generational poverty. A lot of I know a lot of people that have left the shackles of poverty using the government system, your NSFAS and all of that, right? Now, what I'm saying, the responsibility without resources, you're saying that the black man must go work for the capitalist, and then in return they must get the little that they have and go away. They should never actually have a real share of the economy, of the
That's not
resources
what I
that
said.
their people owned, of the resources
That's not
that
what I said.
of their continent. That's what you are. But
That's
that's
not
what
what I'm saying.
you are insinuating. It
No.
is. Okay. It
Did you
is.
listen to me when
It's
I spoke
basically
of the
what you're saying.
XTC?
I
Wait,
did
hang on.
listen to you.
No, no, no. But when I spoke of the XTC, did you hear my point? When George Matanzima, black guy who led the Bantustan of the Ciskei, he went and he bought white-owned businesses. He never said, give me a share for free. He went and bought white-owned businesses and said, we're going to buy this, we're going to use this to upskill our local black people. Black people, you can also come and learn how to run a business. And a quick point, just so that, because we can just finish this issue when you answer, continue answering, is when the Afrikaner people came to South Africa, they found a company called Old Mutual. Old Mutual was started by the English. The English, not by the Afrikaner, by the English, right? That's why it's listed in the London Stock Exchange. And they literally said to the English, this is what they said to the English: please teach us how to run an insurance company. And that is how Sanlam started. Sanlam, which is an Afrikaans insurance company,
Yes.
right?
Yes, I know.
That's how it started. And mind you,
Yes.
Sanlam has got a subsidiary called Santam, which its whole executive is made up of black people. Just in case you didn't know that, but nonetheless, that's not the discussion. But so they learned from the English that this is how an insurance company works, and they never went to the English and said, please give me 30% of your insurance company. The issue with BEE is it's not teaching people about entrepreneurship. It's teaching people about how to be shareholders for free. You are just getting shares. Because tell me, what qualifies you to get 30% as a black person and I as another black person can't get the 30%? You should ask the realistic question: which are these black people that are getting the 30% in these businesses? No, that's just
Okay,
the real
exactly.
question, to say what
Here's
qualifies
what I
those
said
others.
on that point. Okay, to answer that point, I told you that I support triple BE, I support BEE because, like, I'm not saying as I said, if you look at the framework of how BEE is, or if you think about BEE and how it's implemented, as I said, I do not agree with what the ANC is doing with BEE. I believe that BEE should benefit every single black person that qualifies to benefit from it, not the ANC's friends that are going to eat that money and feed themselves. I'm just saying that all
Wait, can I ask you,
people that were
how do
previously
you qualify for BEE?
disadvantaged.
Wait, can I ask you?
So,
Wait,
being
I'm asking you a question.
number one, if you're a
How do
black
you
person,
open up the? This is
hear me
wait,
out.
wait. I'm asking the question. I've not even asked the question. I was just saying I'm asking you a question.
Okay.
How do you open up the field to say that as a black person or as for black people, the BEE playing field is open and therefore we're going to get it. I don't know. What are the requirements to say that this black person deserves BE and that one does not deserve BE? What
Okay,
should be
hear
the
me out.
requirements if you say that we should
Um,
restructure it? What should
let
be
me
the
tell you
requirements?
this. BE in practice, I think should be a thing of it is actually economic empowerment. What I'm saying is, you need to be able
Answer
to
the question.
kickstart
Answer the
people.
question.
I'm getting to I'm getting
Answer the
to that.
question.
I'm getting to that.
Yeah,
So
but answer the question.
BE is supposed to, yeah, I'm answering the question. This is me answering the question. I haven't gotten to the point, right? So BE is essentially uses economic empowerment to boost people, the previously disadvantaged individuals, right? First, those are the
Right.
requirements. You need to be a person that was previously disadvantaged by the apartheid regime. You need to either be a person of, it's based on if you're a person of color. If we're looking at broad-based Black economic empowerment, we look at women as well. We look at people with disabilities that are also not allowed to be active participants of the economy. You get what I mean?
They are
Those are
not
the
allowed.
requirements.
Under
And
which law?
good,
No, no, no. Hang on,
good,
wait, Tokelo. No, Tokelo. I
good.
cannot
I'm
allow
not
you to
saying
just I cannot allow you to just make up blanket statements. Which law says that we cannot hire black disabled people? Which law says that I mean even during apartheid there was
good.
no
Yeah.
law that prevented a white businessman from hiring a black disabled person. If you wanted to go ahead, hire them if you want. There's no law that says that you could not be hired or you can be hired or this one can't be hired. No,
No,
please
but
let us use
when you
facts.
do not know, Kuhle, when you do not have laws, I'm not saying we don't have a law in this country that says, look, Kuhle, you're not listening. This is now a
Mm,
democratic South Africa where
mm.
you can now hire a person with disabilities and all of that. Look, when you don't have laws that stipulate that you have to hire this black person, all of them, I really think that most white-owned companies today, if you didn't have those types of laws, they just probably hire people that they like. Most black people wouldn't be employed. And that's the reality of it. You get what
Can
I
I tell
mean?
you what BE has done?
And
Can I tell you what BE has
Kushe,
done? Because remember,
and let me tell
these
you
all white
something. The thing the
companies
far right doesn't
are
talk about
subjected to
is investors don't look at who runs the company or who owns the company. Investors are there to make money. They're capitalists. They don't care if Tukelo Satecha is CEO of Sanlam or Tukelo Satecha is CEO of Apple. They want money.
yes.
They want money. That's the truth. And the right wing likes to push this agenda that black people can't run companies because this. No, man. That
No,
we could agree, and I'm
no.
not saying I don't agree with you. I'm disagreeing you on that point. What I'm saying is, look, the ANC was wrong in the first place for giving black people farms without proper training. To say, look,
Wait,
uh, uh,
wait.
uh,
Tokelo,
no, hear me
Tokelo.
out. Hear me
Just
out.
hang on, hang on, hang on. Before you get to the farms, because you're going to go to farms now. And now you're going to, because remember, I still have a question from what you just said, and I thought you were
Mm,
sticking to that.
mm,
I'm going to ask you a very simple question.
mm.
What is a business person by nature? Are they socialist or are they capitalist? It's a very simple thing because they are definitely
A
not
person that
communist.
starts a
They
business
are
is a
definitely not.
capitalist.
Wait, yes, yes, yes.
Look, I'm not a
Now
communist. I think that's what you're getting
no, no,
wrong.
no, no. I'm not saying you're a communist. I'm trying to rule out the possibility of a business person being communist. I'm saying that they are definitely not that, right? Business people are
Yeah,
capitalists.
correct,
All of them.
correct.
All of them. They are
Yes,
capitalists.
yes,
Now tell me, you
yes.
told me a capitalist has got the main objective of making money, right?
Mm,
You and I agree on that point. They've got a
mm.
main objective of making money. Now tell me, in your course of making money, do you think that any investor is going to agree to give you 30% of their business for free? And I'm telling you this not from a Kuhle perspective that is just sitting somewhere in Pretoria. And no, no, no. Because that's a perspective that the world has. Do you know that the Chinese don't do BEE? The Chinese companies, Chokelo, oh, you're still there. Do you know Chinese companies don't do BE? They actually literally say it that we don't want BE. Chinese companies are not subjected to BE, including Indian companies, and I'm talking about foreign companies. But an American company is subjected to BE. And that's what Trump was raising. When Trump said, you guys need to scrap BE, he said you must scrap BE on American companies, the same you have done for the Chinese and the same that you have done for the Indian businesses that are from India. And what I'm trying to say is, you cannot say, I'm going to give this one an apple and expect them to come back and give me $10 and then I give you a banana and then I expect you to still give me $10. No. The bottom line is in our quest of achieving
Mm-hmm.
economic liberation for everyone, and especially we're looking at it from an international, because remember, the biggest investors are obviously international investment. Local investment is never really what creates jobs in the long run. They create a certain number of jobs, but it's mostly international investors, right? When you look at the ratios. Now, an international investor, 90% of the time, is deterred when they see a country with policies such as BEE. And it's true. It's not, I'm not making this thing up. It's how the world looks at it without them even caring about how South Africa is. They see BE, that's already a problem, because you're not saying that we are giving 30% of the jobs in the company or 30% of managerial roles to black people. No, we're saying that we're giving 30% of shareholding, which means that I, who started my business wherever I am, I must give you 30% of my company. Cool. After that, they check what's the next policy. There's expropriation without compensation. What's the risk? That means if I can build a factory here, the government can one day, with a valid reasoning, according to the government, they use, because remember, expropriation is whatever the government deems it fit for, they can expropriate. That's a fear that businesses have. Another fear they have is the unions that give employees too many rights. They fear CCMA. They fear when I speak of private companies fearing the labor culture that we have in South Africa, which is very difficult to deal with. And honestly speaking, it does not work anywhere. That's why private companies, you can check this, okay? When they leave South Africa, they do not leave to go and start a factory in Europe. They leave to start a factory in Ethiopia. And what do they hire? They hire black people. The Chinese have come to South Africa. They come with Haval and all their cars, but they do not build factories in South Africa because they know of how problematic the laws are. I'm being serious. Go and check this. They do not. There's no Haval factory in South Africa as we speak. They they they
Kuhle,
they, they keep the factories. Wait. They keep the
let,
factories outside. The only thing they do is to sell the cars because of the difficult labor laws that we have in South Africa. The Chinese, the ANC's best friends, acknowledge this thing. That's why they say, oh, we don't want to deal with this. And then Goodyear, which is a Western-owned tire company, realizes we're not going to stand for this. We are going to close our operations. We're moving to Botswana. We're moving to Namibia, where it's easier to work. Business does not care about your feelings. Business cares about
Kuhle,
making money.
you are not hearing what I'm saying again. What I said is
Yes.
I support BEE on paper. Do I support the implementation of it in practice by the African National Congress? I said no. I said no. Right
Yes.
now, the
Yes.
problem with the ANC, look, I always call them a performative center left or left wing political party because they do push a capitalist agenda. Because they might say, "Oh no, we want triple BEE for our people," but in reality, it's only for them and their friends to chow that money. Do you get what I mean? And again, you said capitalists don't care about your feelings. Totally agree with you. And therefore, I said, why should the capitalist care who owns the company? You get what I mean?
Who
Um,
owns the company?
maybe, I think even the solution for the state to implement triple B is probably through a policy that says, okay, maybe as the government we should own maybe 30% or 20% of your money, of your company, or of your shares, and then we're going to use that money to improve the lives of our people through social grants or state-owned companies. We're going to create more state-owned companies so that people can work. Maybe that's the way triple BE should be implemented. So you are right. BEE in practice is not fine, and it's scaring away investors. The implementation of it, right? Not the idea of redistributing resources for South African people or the previously disadvantaged population to also have a say or to be active participants and also be capitalists, if you'd like to say, in the economy and create more jobs. You understand what I mean? Okay. So I'm not entirely disagreeing with you in in context of triple B. And we had a conversation about this before the debate. That also on the land issue, I agree with you. I do believe in land with compensation. I do believe in that. Just to avoid issues such as scaring away potential people out of our country. Things like that. I agree with you on that point. But what I'm saying, Kuhle, is not acknowledging the past of this country and not seeing that it's really important for the South African government and the South African people to correct the issues of the past. Because now what you're doing is essentially saying that we need to grow the economy without including people. Growing the economy with exclusion is not a solution, right? It will actually make inequality worse. You might say, okay, at least the people would have more money. They will depend less on the social grants. They will depend less on all of those things. But that money is not enough to take the person out of generational poverty or to be able to take their children to school in order for them to eat. And that's the reality of it. You get what I mean? And therefore, that's why I do not stand with the idea of saying, why can't you just go find a job when the economy is not growing itself? When there are no jobs in this country, where must we work? And that's why also people get their degrees and leave the country. I think they're also ignoring that there are no jobs in this country, and that's why people get their money and go. Look at Zimbabwe. I think a part of their GDP is actually formed by the amount of money that they get from other countries in terms of people sending money back home. You get what I
Yes,
mean?
it is. Yeah.
And
Yes.
yeah, it is correct, right? So I'm not saying that BEE, what the ANC is doing, I do not agree with the ANC and I do not like the ANC. I feel like the ANC is somewhat of a threat to democracy because they are ruining this country, right? But again, look, now I wanted to go back to that issue of Helen Ziller and Joburg and that war, right? Now let's talk about the war. Why am I saying that it's a race issue? Look, we've all known about the last time I was in Cape Town was actually when I was very very young, probably in primary school, and I don't even remember seeing those townships. But if you see videos and things online, no, because of technology these days, you can see that the first thing that people see when they get out of the airport is those shacks and all of that. And now, what I'm saying in my head is, why build a wall, waste taxpayer money instead of taking that 180 million rand that you want to spend on that wall, fixing infrastructure, fixing the homes there in the Western Cape. Now you're gonna say it's not the
Wait, Tokelo,
responsibility of the city, but
Tokelo.
isn't the Western
I
Cape
just
premier? Isn't the premier of the Western Cape from the Democratic
wait,
Alliance?
wait. Tokelo, hang on. You and I agree. Do you know that there is a
Yes,
National Department of Housing, right? National Department of
yes,
Housing. They are the
yes.
ones that primarily deal with RDPs and shacks and the rest, right? Now, do you know that most shack dwellers, and that's throughout South Africa, not just the Western Cape, most shack
Mm.
dwellers happen to be foreign nationals. Most. They happen to be foreign nationals. Like 90, like there's a high
We
number.
have an
It's crazy. It's
immigration
not even
issue.
funny.
That's true. That's true. We have an
Yes,
immigration
yes, yes.
issue.
No, no,
Very true. Yeah.
I'm not going to the whole immigration issue and also I'm just trying to say that you need to also go and check who owns the shacks in this on the same breath because I for one will not blame the ANC if I see shacks that are owned by foreign nationals because the ANC's duty is not to take care of foreigners. Their
Mm.
prime duty is to take care of their citizens. That is. So even I would not be able to blame them in such a case, right? Now, what I'm saying to you is the 180 million rand that you mentioned now that is going to be used for the wall. Um, just remember this one important thing: the City of Cape Town budget, right, gives every ward councillor, does not matter whether they're from a rich suburb or from a poor suburb, they give each and every ward councillor 1 million rand to push to champion security issues in that ward. You can
Mm.
go and check this out. This literally in the City of Cape Town budget. And then after that, just also remember one important thing in your argument. 70% of the City of Cape Town's capital budget, which means it's actual money. So it's the money that it has after all its expenses, after paying the salaries of municipal workers and everyone. right? The capital budget now. 70% of the capital budget of the city of Cape Town goes to townships. It goes to townships. Folks in Cape Town were complaining, saying that why on earth is our, because remember, it's usually suburban areas that pay rates and taxes, generally, because people in the townships paying a rates and taxes not high on the list because you don't have enough money to even buy food, right? You can agree on the
Yes.
basic things from a socialist
Mm,
perspective. That is true.
mm.
So they don't pay their rates and taxes. Fine, cool. Majority of them don't. Now, the city of Cape Town is channeling 70% sorry, of its budget to townships, and it has been doing that under Mayor Jordan Hill Lewis, right? Now, I'm not saying that's what happened under Helen Zille, please. I'm saying it has been happening under Jordan Hill Lewis, right? So many people in Cape Town were complaining, especially white suburban people were complaining, saying that we are paying rates, but we don't see the money because all of the money is being channeled to the township. And they were saying how unfair that is because we pay, they are not paying, blah, 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 blah. That whole argument, right? Keep that in mind. In all the arguments that you make, also remember that the policing service, when we speak about safety, SAPS, is a national department. It's not even a provincial department, to make things worse. It's a national department that is run by the ANC. And just to remind you a quick point, the Western Cape SAPS, or because what you call the Western Cape SAPS, which from the director of the national SAPS, were forced to cut 1,800 police officers in Cape Town.
Okay.
Right?
May I
That's
please
not
make this
the DA's
point
decision.
to add on?
Yes,
Okay.
I just want, I'm going to let you, I was about to, I just wanted just to wrap this up. They literally
Yes.
cut 1,800 police officers, right? Just remember that. Just remember that. And that's not a DA or Western Cape or a Cape Town decision. That's a decision that is made by
Mm,
national government. Yeah.
mm.
Right, you can come in. Also, just wanted just to
Yeah.
mention quickly, I've given free membership to a couple of other people, and congrats to those that have received the free membership. Yeah, cool, you can come in.
Okay. Look, um, what I'm saying is, Kuhle, I just feel as if that wall needs the investment in that wall needs to be not like 180 million run on a wall. And this sounds very familiar. I remember hearing this actually from Trump. I just don't remember the context, but I think it was between the border between Mexico and the United States of America, the idea of building a wall, right? And now when you think
Right.
about it, it's like I see. Look, I mean, from my perspective, I know political parties have different members with different opinions, and I look at your opinions on it, and I look at Helen Zilla. I believe both of you guys are very super far right in my thinking, and the things like saying that, oh no, it's not the city's responsibility for the policing service and all of that. Look at what Panyaza did in Gauteng. He put his own some sort of makeshift police officers, Amapanyaza, to take care of the city of the province of Gauteng and the city of Johannesburg, to go there and try to stop crime. What is stopping the city of Cape Town and the province of the Western Cape to do something similar to that? I do not agree with the ANC on
By
many
the way,
things, but I really think that is a really good
I
effort
just want to
taken.
answer the
We
question.
do
I want to
have a
answer that
policing issue
Panyaza.
at national level.
Do you know
I'm
the
not putting,
Amapanyaza is illegal? Do you know the
yeah.
Amapanyaza is illegal? Do you know that? Do you know that they actually cannot even arrest people? That's why they were forced to eventually become traffic wardens, because there was no place according to the constitution where that was allowed. That thing that Panyaza Lusufi did of starting the Amapanyaza, or the Gauteng wardens, their proper name actually, what do you call it, was a thing that was done because of Amapanyaza, which was an election gimmick, whether you like it or not. It was just to get a couple of votes, right? Amapanyaza, that Nasi Spani thing where they just gave a bunch of people jobs. Have you seen the Amapanyaza, or these people? Some of them have got huge stomachs. They've got protruding bellies. They are unfit. They just took people that was just sitting around. You come. You are going to become a police officer today. A police officer that does not have rights. You go to the
Kushe,
Western Cape.
hear me out.
Wait.
Hear me
You
out.
go to the
What
Western
I'm
Cape.
saying is
The
that
Western
no,
Cape has
Kushe.
got the Cape Town Metro Police Department. All those guys are fit. Those guys are fit enough to be soldiers. They go through fitness tests that are not jokes, because there's a level of professionalism that is being done. You can go to the Western Cape today. I am in the city of Tshwane, and you know that very well, that I am in Pretoria, which is called the city of
Mm,
Tshwane. I was with a colleague of mine who is Temba Fosi from the DA. He's a black gentleman, obviously, Temba Fosi. He is Silius Brink's running mate. We were at Tshwane House, the headquarters of Tshwane. And he literally saw this lady from the city, the Tshwane Metro Police coming out, and she had big hips and just big figure and big, just walking. And he says to me, Kuhle, you see, this is the problem. How can you expect such a police officer to catch people? That's the thing of giving a job to anyone. The Western Cape, you can go and check, the Metro Police are all fit. They are all fit. And they've got better at times, they've even got better equipment. And you must remember that even the Metro Police cannot arrest people. Must just go and remind you. It's not the Metro Police's job to arrest people.
Okay,
because they cannot
Kuhle, hear me
send you
out.
to prison.
Kuhle, what I'm saying is, I'm not okay. What I'm saying is the effort in which is being taken in order to curb this. There are so many ways that the city of Cape Town. I hope you agree with me on this one. There's so many ways they could end crime in that area, right? Look, and here's
No,
the thing: we keep blaming. Hear me
no,
out. We
you
keep, and
can't.
in this concept right now, we keep no. Hear me out. We keep blaming national government for not deploying people. And I told you again, the economy is not growing. Now, each and every political party, not each and every, but some political parties are in the GNU, including the DA, which is the second largest partner there. We're saying is a national government issue. The DA sits in cabinet, right? They also sit in probably every legislature in the country, right? What is stopping them as well from saying, look, Cyril, at a cabinet meeting, even if you have John C. Hazen as Minister of Agriculture, what's stopping him from saying, look, we have a really serious crime issue here. We need to do something about it. They are in cabinet as well. Aren't they in cabinet? Please answer
No,
that
this is
question.
not that
Isn't the
simple.
Democratic
Need to
Alliance in
understand.
cabinet?
And I can tell you as
Yes or
someone,
no?
I can tell you as someone
Yes
who has
or
been
no,
in local
Kuhle?
government. No, no, I can tell you as someone who has been in government. In local government. Cabinets don't work as simply as people think. It's not a thing of we just sit, oh shoot, there's a problem here. Let us go and fix this. Who is in charge of the policing department? It's the ANC. It's like international relations.
So I
We
saying
were
cabinet
told.
should not keep each other
We would
accountable. I'm asking you the question. I saying that
no, hang
cabinet is not
on,
supposed to keep
hang
each
on,
other accountable. Whoever
hang on,
focuses on, and
hang
here's
on.
the thing I hate about the GNU. Actually, let me just add on that, and especially at the beginning, it was like you see posts on from the DA side, like on their Instagram or whatever. The DA's Minister of Agriculture or John Steenhuisen did this, this, and this, and this for South Africa. We're not celebrating this as a country, saying, "Oh wow, we did this as a country." Now, this whole thing with the GNU, I just feel as if parties are using this thing for themselves, in order to show themselves as this great. Imagine if you gave us a Department of Health. Imagine what would we do with that? Instead of keeping each other accountable,
Wait,
intentionally
Takela,
sabotaging each other in cabinet.
Takela,
That's what I'm just,
Takela,
that's what
Takela,
I'm saying, Kuhle. Look, I'm even
Takela, can
seeing
I
here
please?
people saying,
Can I,
let me, okay.
you
I'm
asked me
seeing,
about cabinet, right? You asked me about cabinet, and now you're going to another point. You literally asked me, and I was trying to answer the question on cabinet. You said to me,
okay.
cabinet, why isn't the DA using its position in cabinet to sort of lobby support for what's happening in the
Mm,
Western Cape or whatnot,
mm,
or blah, 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 blah. Understand this, and very simply. There are certain departments where no other party except the ANC has got control over. It's true. It's like international relations. You can go and listen to Dr. Corney Mulder. He's not from the DA. He's from the VF Plus. He will tell you, and the VF Plus is part of the GNU. He will tell you
I
that
know. Yes.
the stance of taking Israel to the ICJ was a stance of the ANC. That thing was never
Rightfully
discussed in the
so.
cabinet. Wait, wait. That thing was never discussed in cabinet. That thing was never taken to say, let us discuss and do we have an agreement? The ANC has got a monopoly over the Department of International Relations. It's the same as policing. Why do you think, even after all the corruption scandals that came out from General Mkwanazi, Ramaphosa did not put a DA minister in police? He did not put a Rise and Zansi minister? No. He knows how much filth is there. So he goes and puts who? An ANC stalwart. So when you put an ANC figure there, an ANC goon there, what do you think is going to change? Because the ANC, and it's natural in government, even if you and I are working today together, let's say you and I were part of the GNU, you and I are part of the GNU.
mm,
Jokelo, you run Northern South Africa. You run Limpopo. I run the Western Cape. Right. Any department that you run, you will make sure that you do well, but you do well for the people that you run there. It's the nature of any government. Any government makes sure that it tries to do the best for its own people. It's like the ANC. The ANC's top priority is not solving crime in the Western Cape. I can tell you that for free. They run policing, and it's a national department. Their top priority is not let us solve crime in the Western Cape. Let us get this done. The Democratic Alliance has said this to the ANC. When you say, why aren't they lobbying? The DA has been pushing for the devolution of powers. What does the devolution of powers state? It states that the powers that sit with national government need to at least come down to provincial so that provincial government can be more effective. That's what the DA is saying. The DA is actually
okay.
trying to solve the problem which you are talking about. They are saying, give us the powers to arrest people. Give us the powers to run the police ourselves. Let us actually run the police department. Let it not be a national thing. And I agree, because not all provinces have got the same issues when it comes to police. The crime issues in Limpopo are very different to the ones that are in Gauteng. Very different.
Mm,
And
mm,
both are run by the ANC. Right. So when you come down to provincial, you say, no, each province must be able to manage so that we can hold you accountable. To say, because each province has got its own unique issues. And that's what the DA is saying. Devolution of powers. Let us manage this thing. That's all we want. Let us manage it. And from there on,
okay.
trust me, you will see a difference.
Yeah. No, totally. That's true. The solution is truly the separation of power in terms of, maybe if you maybe somewhat also adopt a governance style of the United States of America, where the state, a particular state has more
A
power
federal
than the
system.
federal government. Yes, if we have that
Yes,
type
the
of
federal
system, and
system.
therefore we could keep. But look, Kuhle, I just feel as if, in my thinking, I just think, even though you run a certain department, I can say now that, look, I'm an activist, I'm a youth activist, and therefore I won't talk about the issue on women. I won't talk about the issue on, these types of things. Get what I mean? I'm not saying that it's the DA's fault, things are this way, things are this way. What I'm saying is an accountability issue, right? Keep the people accountable. Before, and I think I did say this in one of my videos, that before the DA was in cabinet, they were so loud, very loud about the DA. I mean, about the African National Congress and how they run the country. But now they are here in cabinet. The economy is not growing still. Things are just a mess. They're not keeping each other accountable. So what is stopping you from being as loud as you were outside of cabinet, and being as loud as, being as loud as a member of cabinet? That's my
Now,
simple
the
question.
DA
Do
is
you
loud.
believe
The
that
DA is loud. And I'm going to tell you this. A guy from Rise Mzansi, a senior guy from Rise Mzansi, another political party, I'm sure you're aware of them, literally said
yes,
to me, and I objected. He says to me, Kuhle, the issue with you guys in the DA is you guys behave as if you're not in government. You keep
you
objecting
do.
to what goes on in government. Now understand me. The
You
DA was one of the few parties in the GNU that objected the 2% VAT hike. Remember the VAT hike earlier on this year? Which parties objected
mm,
it in the GNU? It was the DA and the VF plus. The so-called
go
capitalist
ahead.
parties
Hear me
are
out.
rejecting
And
a a policy that is going to make many people poor. They are rejecting that. Now, hang
yes,
on, hang on.
go ahead. Hear me
Now,
out.
go
Go
on to
ahead.
say,
Go ahead.
go on to
Here's the
you go
thing.
on
You're
to
not letting me get my points across, and then let me say this to you. Correct. I'm not saying, for, if someone disagrees with the political party, it doesn't mean they disagree with everything. And let's go back to the tax issue. I support the tax issue because now, if if the government itself, or they raised taxes, the VAT issue, if they raised taxes, those are the wrong taxes that you guys are raising. Guys, what I'm saying is, tax the rich more. And when you do this, look, let's even now let me look at it at a capitalist perspective, right? Look, we have an economy here in this country. Good, not really. Okay, we have a big economy in South Africa, and we say, capitalists, come and invest in our country, right? Come and create jobs for our people. Then what we do is, When there's more jobs, more people earn an income, and more people earn an income, we can raise taxes. Then we have more taxes. We say the rich, since you're making more money, let's give the poor more money as well, so that they can sustain themselves in this economy. And this is what I don't understand with capitalism. You want to scrap
No,
grants.
wait, hang on,
You want
Tokelo.
to scrap
You are saying that we must increase taxes for the rich. I'm saying as the rich
for
become
the
richer.
rich, correct? As the rich more,
No, no, no. Hang on, hang on,
as the
hang on.
rich get
Why
richer,
do you think?
the
Why do
more
you
we
think?
should raise
Why
tax.
do you think? Wait, wait. How do you think? Why do you think places like Dubai and Hong Kong exist? Tax-free havens. Why do you think they exist? Do you think they just exist because supposedly, you can come and enjoy your money as a rich person? No, it's because rich
South
people don't
Africa's
want, like anyone else,
Kuhle,
including a
Kuhle.
middle class person, doesn't
South
want to be taxed.
Africa's South Africa's economy is actually literally it is very tied to the past of this country, very tied to it. And therefore, what I'm saying to you is you are oversimplifying the reality of the South African people, of the South African economy.
Tokelo,
That is what you're
Tokelo,
doing now.
Tokelo.
Hear me
I'm
out,
going. I'm
Kuhle,
going
hear
to.
me
I'm
out.
going to tell.
We
Wait, wait.
cannot be like
I'm
those. We
hearing you out.
cannot be like those
I'm going to tell
countries
you something. I'm going to tell you
without.
something, and I'm going to just park it there. I'm going to park it there. The thing is, I've been listening to you raising points, and I put that in inverted brackets, right? Points. Now, um, here's the thing. You have not shared with me. You have not shared with me a country where these things have happened, and
Neither
this is
have
a
you shared
success.
a
Wait,
country with me that is an extreme
I
capitalist
have.
country.
Tokelo, Tokelo. I've used
The
Singapore. I
United
even told you
States
that
of
China was.
America.
Tokelo, hang on, hang on. Everything that I mentioned, everything that I have said to you today, I have backed it up with a successful country that has implemented it. Different countries. I can even give you more if you want. I'm saying
No,
to
it's
you, you
because
have not come
Kuhle,
to me.
here's the
You
thing,
said
you're
to me
being
when I brought up
ignorant.
those
You are
countries,
being
hang on,
you
hang on, hang on. You said to me when I brought up those countries, you said to me, Kuhle, those countries have got a different makeup. You can't compare them to South Africa. You can't blah 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 blah. This, that, blah 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 blah. The bottom line, the world is diverse. The bottom line, there's no society that is the same. You go to Asia, they were colonized. It was a bunch of Asian people. There were no black folks there. You go to America, I mean, the Indians were colonized. The Red Indians were colonized. They brought in black slaves. It's its own form of its own diversity. Whether we like it or not, diversity exists across the world in its own likes and shades. Now, I'm saying to you, in this whole argument, you bring up the socialist utopia, which is unfounded. It's impossible. I'm telling you this. You know, the thing is, as a socialist, you are saying as a socialist, business must come to the party. Who's business? Capitalists. Basically, you're saying you want capitalists to fund your ambitions. That's what you're saying. You're saying
I'm a
that
democratic
capitalists.
I'm a democratic socialist. I'm not just
So
saying
you're a
that
social democrat. You're a
look,
social
the
democrat.
state must own everything. Yeah. So
You're a social democrat.
part of me, a part of my views accepts capitalism, just not extreme capitalism. Okay. Look, just to wrap up my argument, what I'm saying is
Yes.
look, extreme capitalism is not going to fix anything in this country. And we cannot ignore the past of this country and ignore what apartheid did to our people and then try to move on and then build on an economy that excludes the people. The African National Congress is wrong for its actions of not um implementing triple B and BEE efficiently. And do I
Who
believe
do you
that if
suggest
you
we
are
vote
rich,
for?
you need to support the
Who do you
poor?
suggest we vote for,
Correct,
by the
I
way?
do. Hmm?
Who do you suggest South Africans should be voting for? Just an interesting question, actually. Something that we have not discussed, which I think is also very important to discuss.
Look, I haven't for reasons
Because
I
right now we're
cannot.
going around in circles.
Yeah, no,
No, I'm not
for
saying I'm not
reasons of
saying you support.
my standing,
I'm not saying
my standing
I'm not saying you
as
support the party. I'm just saying who do you think is the party that South Africans, and we're talking about both black and white, remember,
yeah,
can rally behind,
totally.
right? And say that this is the party that we're going to entrust to build the future for all of us, South Africans. Who do you think? Because obviously it's not the ANC. You and I agree on that. So
Yes,
which
correct.
parties? You can even mention the parties. You don't have to restrict yourself to one.
Yeah, totally.
Try to be open.
Let me say number one. If I think maybe in different, but let's just say in general. Look, I think I love the EFF and but I just feel like some of their policies are a little bit too ambitious, just a bit too ambitious. But I would say number one, your smaller parties, your Rise and Zansi, that whole coalition with Rise and Zansi, what do they call themselves again? Unite for Change. And I think those three parties together would actually do a really great job in the country. Um, the EFF at a late, probably at a later stage. Um, who else? Yeah, I just think those two would do it for now. But why am I saying Rise and others? Probably because of their
Mm,
governance stance. I really like what they are coming with in terms of governance and improving the system and ensuring service delivery. I think that's what South African people need right now. In the short run, the economic
mm,
freedom fighters, please let's just not give them too much power because this country is going to collapse. But what I'm saying is I stand with them in terms of the social issue. Um, I do believe in economic freedom. I do not believe that when Nelson Mandela stopped fighting or when Nelson Mandela passed on, that meant that we should stop fighting for the freedom of our country. We are a democracy, but we're still economically excluded as African people. And that should be the mission of younger people, you and I, Kuhle, to fight for our people and to fight for South Africans, to ensure that everyone is included in this economy of ours, to ensure that we end poverty at some point or extreme poverty as we see in this country. 14 million
mm,
South Africans are recipients of the social grant. That's almost half of the
mm.
population. That's an issue,
Thanks to
right?
socialist
Now
policies. Thanks to
we need
socialist
to
policies.
find solutions.
Thanks to
Yes, hear me
socialist
out. We need to,
policies.
yes, it is a socialist policy. We need to find solutions in
No, I'm
order
saying
to
thanks. I'm
have
saying
less people
40 million people
dependent
are
on the
on
social
grants
grant
because
by
of
creating more
socialist.
jobs, by having more people coming into the country. And I think that is what we need to do as a country, right? Now,
So,
do
Tokelo,
not scrap. I'm not
Tokelo.
saying. Here's the thing: we cannot scrap BEE. We cannot scrap triple BE because then we need to say, okay, maybe we need reforms in in this policy. We cannot scrap it. That is not going to work for anyone. It's unfair, in fact, to do that.
Tokelo,
You're telling
Tokelo,
indirectly telling the African people that they should not be active
Tokelo,
members of the economy. They do not deserve
Tokelo,
to be out there like everyone
Tokelo,
else.
Tokelo, Tokelo, Tokelo.
Yes,
Understand this.
yes.
So grants have been trialed and tested in Western countries, right? Western countries which are naturally capitalist, right? Now, grants existed in a country called Greece. Do you know that they had what they called the unemployment grant in Greece? Now,
Hmm.
what happened was many young people like yourself and I would, instead of going to school or going to varsity, they would finish school, but then they would not go to varsity because there was the unemployment grant that was waiting for them at the end of the day. And they abused the system because they realized that, oh gosh, this is free money in a way. Therefore, we don't need to go to school. So they literally just abused the system. That was what was being done. Tokela is still there. Or you're gone now. But nonetheless, if you do come back, the grant system is what's being abused. The grant system is not building entrepreneurs. It's not building people that are looking to build a future outside of grants. And I'm being quite literal with you, as in it's not building that. The grants in and of themselves are meant for you to be at the begging bowl of government. That's what they're meant to be. They're meant for you to be at the begging bowl of government. Now, Tokelo has clearly lost connection, and he has lost his socialist connection because he is not connected. I don't know what the issue is with his network. Um, I don't know. He has not yet sent me a message, but when he does, I will update you. Otherwise, we could just really wrap this up. But as I'm mentioning, this thing is the bottom line, ladies and gentlemen. No amount of social engineering is the cure to poverty in South Africa. It isn't, you know. And I keep mentioning this thing, and it does not go through heads like Tokelos. I mean, supporting abortion and saying that a fetus is not a child. How stupid do you have to be to say such? I mean, how lackluster. Like, please explain to me What components are missing in your head that cannot see such? Like, can someone explain this to me? Or am I the one who's missing something here? But I can tell you, I'm not missing anything here. I am pro-Judeo-Christian values. The problem with the left, and as you've heard from Tokelo is not a Christian. He's not Jewish. What guides his morals? Is it the same thing that guides the ANC? The lack of morals we see in our government? Huh? The lack of morals we see in the EFF, where people call for the killing of a certain group of people? That is the problem with the left wing. You will try to speak with them, and you'll ask them, please give me examples. Share examples of successful communist or socialist utopias with me, please. They cannot even list one. I've been asking, share, share, share. You can't mention a place, let alone can't mention a place, you can't mention a thing. You can't. You cannot mention a thing. And that is because those guys do not argue on logic. They argue on this fallacy that somewhat we are all equals. A cleaner should live the same life that a doctor lives. Tell me, who sets the standard for achieving things in life if that's the case? Because that's not how life works. That is not how life works. It's a shame to see that we still have people who think like Tokelo and, think that somewhat a communist utopia is what's going to uplift South Africa. That this is not going to save the country. I'm telling you. Oh, and Tokelo, you are back, my guy.
Yes,
But
sorry, my
basically
phone
what I
died.
was... Oh, no problem, brother. But what I was saying in a nutshell, because I won't repeat everything that I've been saying, so that you at least get the point that I was raising to you, was the one on Greece was saying that Greece as a country, had grants. Many young people ended up not going to school, to varsity, because they realized I can just get a grant, right? That's what they did. Same as in Japan. This thing happened in Japan as well. And Japan just came to my head. And I remembered the same thing the Japanese government were crying about. These are the issues with grants. Hence, I keep telling you, please show me a society that starts with grants and ends with prosperity. There is no society that does that. No. It's impossible, Chokero. It will never work, whether you like it or not. Look, the bottom line is, bottom line is, I'm updating on what I was saying.
Yeah.
The bottom line is, to be a socialist at a young age is normal. Because, trust me, all young people that love politics generally start by being socialist and communist. Either or. Because that shows that you've got a heart.
I'll never be a capitalist.
I'm not saying you're communist. I keep telling you, I'm not calling you a communist.
I'm saying I'll never be a capitalist.
Hang on.
My political stance will never change.
Hang on.
My stance is for the South African people.
Yes, hang on. Also, your volume is a bit low, hey? Just want to tell you. Now, I don't know if what's happened to your volume. I can hear, but it's very low. So I don't know how other people are hearing it.
Let me just quickly connect this. Yes.
Yeah, no problem. I'll just wrap up my point while you're connecting your AirPods. Now, what I'm saying is, many young people, right? It's normal for them to have this feeling of, oh gosh, so many injustices are happening in the world. It's normal. It shows you've got heart. The bottom line is, once you start paying taxes, Tokyo, once you start really just paying your first tax and understanding the way the world works, you'll understand very well. It's the same thing I keep mentioning even about NSFAS, because we've got to keep the conversation going, right? So when you answer this part of the debate, also just include the NSFAS part in it. And I've been saying, and I've been saying in the...
Look, my stance in terms of being a social, democratic socialist is that, look, I'm saying mixed economy, right, which is what we have now, right? State and private ownership. The next step is that the government has shares in every major industry, not completely take over every industry, right? Or have, for example, let's look at ESCOM. ESCOM is a monopoly run by the state, and look at what it's doing to the country. As I said, I'm not a communist. I know what happens when the government has too much power in an industry. What I'm saying is maybe you could have maybe two companies running the electricity thing. We see better if Eskom cannot produce, that other company will produce, right? And I'm saying that the state should have shares in major industries, as I said, then and also maybe have some state-owned companies in some industries so that they create jobs. Both the capitalist is happy and both the government is happy. The South African people are happy because
No,
that doesn't only mean more
it's impossible.
jobs. It means higher,
It's impossible.
more tax income. It means that
No.
less poor people will spend less on social grants. But at this stage, we cannot scrap social grants. We cannot scrap progressive policies because at this stage, no one is really empowered by this economy as yet. You get what I mean?
Okay,
This
no.
economy is not working for us. And
Okay,
I'm
no.
saying we need reforms
Okay,
and
no.
implementation and not necessarily
Okay,
changes
no.
in policy.
Okay,
Yes.
no. Can I just tell you one thing? And this is not about race, about this or that, or just I want to answer the question on the electricity and these two companies
Mm,
and government having shares and all sorts. It's impossible
mm.
for a company that is state owned to make profit because it is run by government, and government's main duty is not to make profit. It is not. It is not. That's why government's main duty is to provide a service, and the service is meant to be affordable. It's a basic service meant to be
Interestingly,
affordable
yes,
at
yeah, I mean,
its basic cost. It's meant to be affordable. We try to make it as accessible as possible. Hence, I will tell you, in a very simple argument, the
yeah,
only airline in Africa that is fully government owned, that is successful, and that actually makes a profit in the whole world. The only government owned airline in the whole world that makes a profit is Ethiopian Airlines. And that is because the Ethiopians understand business. But if it was any other
mm.
country, trust me not. The bottom line is government intervention. Governments cannot run companies. The US understand that. Why do you think the US don't
That's
even have a
literally
national
contradicting
airline?
yourself.
Delta's private
But you
owned.
said Ethiopia is doing
No,
it,
no,
so
listen.
that's directly
No, because the US,
contradicting
listen,
yourself.
just listen. I knew you're going to go there. The US is like South Africa. They've got human rights. Remember what I told about Ethiopia? Ethiopia
Mm,
takes people to go to school. Remember what I told you? And once you're done, they pay you a below average salary. An SAA pilot gets 2 to 4 million rand. An Ethiopian Airlines pilot gets 700,000 rand. An Emirates pilot gets 5 million rand. These are real stats, by the way, not just thumb sucking them. I just want to show
mm,
you how Ethiopia is able to make money. They're making money
mm,
through, in a nutshell, you could even go out, you could go as far as saying exploitation, in a way. In a way. You could even
mm,
insinuate exploitation in a way,
mm.
in a way. But obviously, it's people that are paying back for the skill that government gave them. Now, the US, remember this thing, US has got minimum wage. The US has got human rights laws, right? They exist there. They exist there. That's why you can do certain things in different states and all sorts. Now, it was never going to be easy for a country like the US to run an airline and pay people peanut salaries like Ethiopian Airlines does. And it's the same reason why British Airways only started to thrive when the British government sold British Airways to a private company.
Kuhle,
Because
my
private
stance on the
people
economy.
understand
Look,
business.
yes, Kuhle, here's the thing. In terms of the economy, I just strongly believe
Right.
that economic development and economic growth should go hand in hand. And what do I mean by this? I'm saying
Yes, yes.
the the capital should be able to give a person enough money and a good enough salary for them in order for them to build a proper home for themselves and their children. That's what I'm saying. I'm not completely against capitalists existing. What I'm saying is, why have a capitalist system that does not allow unions to exist, that does not allow a minimum wage, that would basically allow a company to exploit the people, as you're saying in Ethiopia, right? Though that's what I'm saying. We need to have a system where both capitalists and the citizens of the country are happy, right? Where economic growth goes hand in hand with economic development. I'm not talking small economic development, saying that there needs to be an increase in probably salaries, maybe by I don't know, 2% or what, but people actually having, especially in the South African context, having enough money to leave the township. You get what I mean? Having enough money to support their families and all of that. Now, when you have a capitalist system without regulation, that becomes nearly impossible. and governments can
Yeah.
be
Okay. No,
capitalists
just to
as
say,
well. Um, just to
we've got
just to say,
we've
yeah,
got a donation that came through here. Just need to say thank you, 70 Rand, from Berto again. He says the EFF. I think it's a comment that you made before you left because it's about you.
yeah,
The EFF, but
yes,
do not give them too much power, and it has got laughing emojis. Yeah, true. Hey, you can't. I mean, and then um, Shadow Spirit has donated 14 Rand. Thank you for the 14 bucks. Yep. So, also wanted just to say that I think we should look at, let's say we've got 10 to 15 minutes left on this live stream
okay,
so that we can
yeah.
start
Let
closing
me
down.
just rep.
But yeah, I'll allow you
Let
to
me
go.
just,
I'm not debating now. I'm not debating.
yeah,
I'm
okay,
just wanted to mention a couple of things. 10 to 15
okay,
minutes
thank you.
left. You'll finish your points, and then just to mention the last few points that we should touch on, I think, should be on the NSFAS because we've not finished that properly. I think the
Yes,
NSFAS one is an
yes,
important one. And then I think another point that we should touch on is Israel Palestine. Let's try to keep that close to the end. And then, but
correct.
like we can just like close with that. And then I think an exciting one is, I think you discussed this. I hope I'm not mistaken. You said that the young people should start a political party or something. And I'm not going to debate with you in that. I just want you just to
Yeah,
close off with it. I'm not debating with you.
yeah,
I just
yeah,
want you just to
totally,
share your final thoughts, yeah, with that. Yeah. So
totally.
you can continue where you left off. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, good. But look, to you and your viewers, I'm seeing the comments here. Look, the ANC is killing progress. I'm seeing one comment here. The ANC is killing progress. Look, I agree with that totally, 100%. I believe that our country is going downhill, and to a point where I feel like our democracy is somewhat starting to be at risk here under the African National Congress, right? And I what also to add on what I'm saying in terms of the economy and black economic empowerment. Thing is, I think people are ignoring the fact that our economy is solely tied. People say move on from apartheid. You can't move on when you say we're not saying look we're going to continuously blame it and just blame it. We're saying we're blaming it and we want to correct it. Right now, we can't forget about it and then just start building something new, right? Because it will leave a lot of people behind, right? As we discussed, 14 million South Africans are taking from the state purse because they cannot probably afford their basic needs and whatever. What we need to do is the government needs to work with the private sector a bit more, create jobs, right? So that less people depend on these social grants and so on. So I'm not totally against the idea of having somewhat of a better economy or a better country without the African National Congress. I'm totally with that. But what I'm saying is extreme capitalism will not fix it, and as well as extreme communism. Communism will not fix this country, and I agree with that. It seems as if also looking at the comments that someone is comparing my views to the Soviet Union, saying that there were more cars, more black people were driving cars in apartheid South Africa than they were in the Soviet Union. Totally. I'm not a communist, right? I do not support communist ideas because we know how that went through. We know how what that outcome is. We might say there's no country that successfully had a socialist agenda and succeeded, right? But what if we formed our own a proper uh, 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 socialist, democratic
Took it,
socialist system that will work for both the private sector
hang
and
on,
the people?
hang on, hang on. Economics, I've been saying this to you, is not a game of cards. Human nature exists. That's why communism doesn't succeed, right? It's because of human nature.
Mm,
They are greedy human beings. They are very kind human beings. They are good and they are bad human
mm,
beings, right? And it's the same thing as socialism. There are people that will take advantage of the system. They will never look for jobs. They'll just take grants and sit at home. And that's why I said yesterday in my video, I said, you've got grants. I disagree with grants. But because they are there, why don't you stand up and do something with the grant? Why are you sitting down with the grant? Why are you just sitting at
but
home?
because it's
Why
not
do
enough
foreign
money.
wait,
Look, Kuhle.
Tokelo. Why do
Okay.
foreign nationals?
Yeah.
Why do foreign nationals come to South Africa, work for way below the minimum wage, way below it? And at times, you know, a foreign national will come and will feed more people than a South African does with a 370 grant. and a child grant and pension grants. And they do that. And in their quest of doing that, they can still go and buy a scooter to try and start another side hustle of Mr. D, Uber Eats, and go and do XYZ. It's because the spirit of hustling, the spirit of working is there. It's within them. The spirit of improving themselves is there. We must answer the honest question: do Black South Africans have the spirit of improving themselves? Do they have the real spirit of, I want to start a company and I want to start it with government not intervening. I want to make this thing
Kuhle,
thrive.
do
I
you
want to succeed.
Kuhle,
Do they have it?
do we understand what uh, unemployment means? Do we understand what an unemployed person is? An unemployed person is a person that is actively looking for work but cannot find work. So that means South Africans are
And
not sitting at home
that is
doing
according to
nothing.
the
They
ANC's
are looking
definition. That is
for
according to
work.
the ANC's definition. The ANC says unemployment in South Africa is sitting at an odd 40 something percent. And when they say it's sitting at an odd 40 something percent, they come back and tell you the cock and bull that it's 40 something percent of people who are still looking for jobs. How many are not looking for jobs? That is the numbers we should be talking about. And those that are looking for
Okay.
jobs, and those
No,
that
I'm
are
talking
looking for
about both
jobs,
numbers, Kuhle.
yes, yes, yes.
I'm
Those
talking
that are
about
looking for jobs,
both numbers.
Chokelo, have you ever run a business in your
Isn't
life?
that the overall definition
No, I'm asking you, have you ever
of
run a business in your life?
no? But what I'm
Have
saying
you
is,
ever run a
Kuhle,
business in your life?
no.
So you cannot comment on running a business if you've not run a business. I have run many businesses in my life. I know how it feels like to employ someone.
Oh, so no, no, you can't say I can have an
No, it's
opinion
the
on
real
how a
thing.
business runs if just because I have
Go and
never
ask a
run
business
a business
owner.
before.
Go and ask a business owner. Go and ask a business owner. What is the perspective of running a business? I know Herman Mashaba personally, and you know that very well. Herman Mashaba, I was once in a
Yes,
meeting
I
with
do.
Herman at a cafe, right? And he spoke and he mentioned something
Mm.
which blew my mind back then, right? Because, like I said, I think about things. He says, business's main objective is not to create jobs. Business's main objective
To make a profit.
is to make money. Is to make money. And you are saying, and
Yes,
he says,
we all know
I
that.
keep telling, I'm telling you what Herman Mashaba told Ramaphosa. He says he told Ramaphosa
Yes.
that as a business, I'm not here to hire people. I am here to hire as minimal people as I can possibly hire. If this job can be done by one person, I'll hire one person. I won't hire three people, right? But a socialist perspective is saying, oh, instead of us getting machines to come in, let us let people use shovels so that we can hire more people, or more people can have jobs and all that stuff. But be that as it may, we've got to go to the NSFAS argument because we're running out of time, and we've got the NSFAS argument,
Yes.
which is a very heated and a very important one that we should answer. So can I just brief you quickly on my NSFAS argument, and then you can jump in? So at least you can object, because I'm sure you'll object to what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Right.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying about NSFAS, right? NSFAS, and I was actually looking through the records yesterday. NSFAS only funds one. NSFAS. The people that get NSFAS, white people only make 1% of it, while they're actually more than 1% of white people that actually should have access to NSFAS. Just saying, by the way. But be that as it may,
Mm.
that's fine. Now, NSFAS as a system used to be cool when what do you call it? Used to be cool when people used to pay back, because it was a system that was like a student loan in the US, where when you're done studying and as soon as you've got a job, you pay back, and you pay back according to how much you're being paid, right? So if you that system worked back then, and I am with that system because there's nothing to do. Now, the system where we say education should be for free is impossible, because I've been to many universities. I've spoken to many VCs. And VCs who come from the ANC, by the way, because those are very political positions. And they will tell me, Kuhle, you don't understand the stress that NSFAS puts them under. Universities actually hate NSFAS. I never said I hate NSFAS. I hate the free part of it. Now, he says, one of the VCs say to me that UCT is no longer. Tokelo, can you hear me? Oh my gosh. Is the connection good? Tokelo, can you hear me? Tokelo, can you hear me? Hi guys, can anyone hear me? Tokelo, are you there? Hi, guys, I seem like I'm the only one here on the live. Um, yeah, so since I look like I'm the only one on the live, nonetheless, so as I was saying to Tokelo earlier on, which is NSFAS will never work, especially with the free system. It can't. The bottom line is NSFAS as a system funds every qualification that exists. Every qualification that is out there, NSFAS funds it. And the reality is no NSFAS can't be funding useless qualifications. There are certain qualifications the market does not want, and that's the truth. And it's high time that people start to accept this thing, right? It's really high time that people start to accept that, as well as understanding very well that what you call it, that since NSFAS can't fund certain qualifications, or shouldn't be funding certain qualifications, money needs to be paid back. And that's my argument, is to say that,
Yes.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Sorry, Kuhle. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. At least you're back. So
I
I didn't say
can.
too much.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sweet. So what I was
Okay.
saying in a nutshell, because I wanted just to, and then you can come in. I was saying that basically NSFAS needs to be honest to itself. NSFAS needs to fund only STEM-related modules or STEM-related qualifications. What is STEM? Science, technology, engineering, mathematics, right? Those are qualifications that are wanted by the market. If we're talking about increasing employment, right? That's what we're talking about. Taking people out of poverty. We need to be pushing people into what the market wants. And that's what capitalists want. Capitalists are not looking for artists. I'm being honest with you. I'm not joking with you. I'm not telling
Yeah.
you a
Kuhle.
folklore
Okay.
or I'm telling you
Kuhle.
an opinion. Wait, I'm still finishing my
Okay.
point.
Yes. I
Now,
hear you. Yeah.
people must
Okay.
go into what the market wants. You know, this thing of social studies and funding social studies and funding this and that. Trust me, it's the whole reason we've got so much unemployment as well. It's one of the reasons. People, it's actually true. I'm not making this up. Even the IFP said certain qualifications need to be scrapped because there is no business that wants them. Tell me, you go and study BA arts, which company are you going to work for? No, just honestly speaking. Or go and study, I don't know,
Kuhle. Let's
social whatever.
let's
Which
tap into
company?
that. Let's
Wait,
tap into
wait,
that.
wait, wait,
Yeah.
wait, wait,
True.
wait.
True.
Which companies are you going to
True.
work for? The bottom
Yeah.
line is the
True.
market. You can go to careers
Mm,
24. Careers 24. I'm giving you this as homework. Go and check how many IT jobs there are.
mm,
12,000. Go and check how many accounting
mm.
jobs. Close to 7,000. And then go and check how many jobs in the arts. Less than 1,000. But then we've got majority of
Okay.
varsity students studying arts, and we expect people to get out of poverty. The numbers aren't numbering. We should just be realistic. Let's just stop this thing of you can do whatever you want, you can succeed. No, this is not America. This is South Africa. In America, you can. South Africa, you can't because of where the economy is. We are talking about
Mm,
getting to a size of the American economy. That should be the aim, to become a first world country. Now, also on that point, is what I'm saying to you is when I speak of NSFAS, what makes it
mm.
fair that you get to qualify for NSFAS, but me, Kuhle, my parent must pay because my parent earns above 700,000. They must legally pay. University is expensive. It's over 100,000 rand to send your kid to university if you include res and you include the studies, right? You have not even
Mm,
included the
mm,
monthly allowance of your child. You have not even included the transportation because chances are your child won't even study in the city where you come from. So they have to travel or all
mm,
sorts. It's above 100,000 rand
mm,
to send a kid to university every year. And you must
mm.
pay for that. And then a couple of people get to go to university for free. And I'm going to explain NSFAS to you because I don't think that you have benefited from the NSFAS system. So I want to just explain how it works so that you know completely how it works. because if I'm not mistaken, I don't think that you have gone through that whole system. Now,
Not yet.
NSFAS students, NSFAS students get their tuition paid for. They get their residence paid for. They can even go to private accommodation, which is close to 60,000 rand a year, right? Which at times is even more expensive than their private. That's more expensive than their tuition fees. And I know that very well because there are many people that must pay the 60,000 rand cash because their parents are too rich for NSFAS, but are too poor for other things. So it's fine. They get free this, free that. And then NSFAS people also get a book allowance of close to 20,000 rand every year. Close to 20,000 rand, a book allowance for them to go and buy books. Mind you, they don't even use the money to buy books. I've seen this thing. I'm not saying it's out of guessing. They buy iPhones with this. I'm not joking. Tokelo, please. I know that
True.
you will say, but
Correct.
I've seen this with my eyes.
No, I'm
They
not.
buy
You're not
iPhones.
lying. That's true. I know people that do
Yes,
that.
yes.
Yes.
They buy iPhones with that money. And then after that, after buying
Yes.
iPhones, look at me. My parent
I don't have bread.
is too rich
Yeah.
for me to get NSFAS. I don't have an iPhone, but here's this guy benefiting from my parents' tax. They get an iPhone. And then after that, to make matters worse, they also get a laptop allowance. They get free laptops. Free laptops. They even can go and claim if they've lost their laptop and there's a valid case that this thing was stolen, and also it's valid that they can check, okay, no, this thing was indeed stolen. You can actually go and claim and get a brand new laptop. Brand new laptops. These are the things they get with taxpayers' money. And then after all of this, there's even a food allowance included. A food allowance on top of all of these wonderful Christmas presents. There's a food allowance included that says, okay, you will get a monthly stipend or monthly allowance for you to go and buy food. Or there's also money for transport for you to go back home and all sorts. Basically, you are just the slave of, you belong to NSFAS. NSFAS pays for your whole existence. After all of that, Tokelo, after all those lovely freebies, you do not pay a cent to government. You do not pay back. That's wrong. That is wrong. And then because my parent earns above 600,000 rand, I must pay. My parents must go through all of that. And the people that are on NSFAS, 90% of them fail because they don't have the pressure of fees. That does not exist. The pressure of fees does not exist. So the issue of failing varsity or repeating a module is not a real threat to them because they know, oh gosh, NSFAS will still pay for me next year. It's real. It doesn't exist for them because they know, oh, it doesn't matter. I'm funded anyway. NSFAS will pay for me next year. I'm cool. But a self-payer, a person that knows that the parents have to toil to pay for their varsity fees, does not behave like that. They will go at all costs and lengths to pass that qualification in the shortest time possible. Now, I don't know what you see when it comes to this, but I'm saying to you, NSFAS does not need to be deleted. That's not what I'm saying. No. I'm saying NSFAS should focus on certain qualifications and it should channel people into qualifications that the market wants so that you do not become unemployed when you're done studying. Because what's the point of you going to study and then you become unemployed? That's just useless. I see that as a wasted investment, actually. So that's one of the main objectives. And then the second one is NSFAS needs to also make sure that people pay back. Those are the two critical points for me. The rest, NSFAS can stay, as well as NSFAS must also have a cap on the times that you can fail and all sorts. That's extra stuff. But those are the two main points that I wanted to raise regarding NSFAS.
Yeah. Look, Kuhle, I think we could agree on the point that you've made that I will not agree completely because I feel as if our solutions into, okay, let me just start with the issue itself. There are issues in NSFAS. I agree with you 100%. But what I do not agree with you on is the idea of paying back, or rather solutions on how we could scrap this issue on NSFAS. Now, I feel as if I think rather that NSFAS itself is like other institutions in South Africa it's not implemented properly, right? It's a good idea, right? But how it is also practiced is not really good, right? I think we need to have free education for everyone. And whether you come from a rich family or middle income family, education should be free for everyone. If we can have free education and primary school level, secondary school level, we should also have free education at tertiary level. And you are right about some degrees that people uh, pursue, the arts degrees, like probably, like some people do a degree in drama and all of those things. I really think that those degrees are not really good degrees if you want to be an active participant of the economy, and you do not really deserve state funds to do such a degree, because if you're not going to contribute back to society, or rather to the economy, to also fund other kids to go to school and give them an opportunity to be successful, then why benefit from the system itself? And so this brings me to my point, to say that some people like myself, I'm not really good at the STEM department, your science and all of that, but I'm really good at everything else, your economics, your business stuff, right? I'm really good at those things, and I really think those are also the jobs that people need in the
By the way,
financial sector. You need
economics,
lawyers, you need.
economics and business does fall under STEM. Sorry, just wanted to tell you.
Oh, it
Just
does.
saying.
Okay.
Just saying.
Yes.
Yeah, it
Yes.
does.
So yeah, I agree with you on that. People that study degrees that are not, there should be a criteria on what degrees NSFAS uh, 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 funds. There should be a list that we do not fund drama, we do not fund thingy. That I agree with you on, right? And the idea of people buying laptops and all of that. I really think if you're going to give people funds or money to do things, just do it for them. Buy them a laptop. You bring the laptop here so we can see it. Maybe you could give them allowance for food. That's fine. Give them accommodation that the state thinks. They have an agreement with some company in the private sector to say, look, we're striking a deal with you. This is how much we're going to be paying you for these amount of students. That agreement should be made, right? Now, the idea of paying it back and having people having to then find jobs because they're sitting in debt. They can't fund their lives properly. They can't, because remember, some people that are usually funded by NSFAS come from very disadvantaged families. So now imagine, now you're sitting on student loans. Now you have to pay black tax on top of that. That type of thing. I really don't think that should be, because I don't know. Just tell me how we can have uh, state-funded primary school and secondary school education, but we cannot have state-funded tertiary education. We need those.
Okay,
We need to
Takeda,
have that, because
I
more
can tell you.
education, more
Takeda,
investment in
I
education
can tell you.
equals to long-term growth. Hmm?
Takeda. The problem
Yes.
is throughout your whole argument, throughout from the beginning, before even this point,
Yes.
you have not spoken about how to make money. You have only spoken about people need this, people need that, people need. There's a long list of. It's a Christmas list that you actually have requested for people. And understand this: a
Kuhle.
university is not as cheap as a school. Like it or not, a school, even the state-funded schools, are not the best schools. There's a reason why a Pretoria Boys High exists, and it's in that condition. Pretoria Boys High, which um, actually is kept in the condition it's kept in because of the parents that actually take out money, and not for school fees. They take out money to upskill and to upkeep the school. Same as AFIs, worse school AFIs, right? There's a reason why worse schools are in better condition than a township school, and both of them are public. It's because money goes into those schools from the parents. Parents go above and beyond even the fees. They actually take out money, they sponsor events, they build buildings,
Kuhle.
because that is an investment that is being made by the people that want to benefit from the resource. Now, a resource that is completely for free, such as a public hospital, will never be good. That's why if you look, ever since the fees must fall era, and when NSFAS has actually been free, South African universities have been dropping in the rankings. UCT used to be part of the top 100 universities in the world. Now UCT is actually even below top 200. And it's because of these simple things of not understanding the way the world works. It's a practical, basic, simple thing. I was with a guy from UCT who told me, and this is going to our second part of the conversation, by the way, because remember I have to wrap up the conversation, the one on Israel and Palestine, who said to me, I'm not sure if you know this, the UCT SRC, which has been run by the EFF for quite a lot, has passed for quite a lot of time, has passed
Okay,
a
let me
law
just wrap it
that
up, please. Okay.
no, you'll wrap it up. You wrap it up. I just want to finish this. It passed the law that
Yeah.
says, what do you call it? That the institution should not accept funding from Jewish funders or from Israel.
Okay.
So UCT used to have a lot of money that came from Israel and Jewish funders during its heydays, if you can say the least. Now they can't get that, and yeah, basically the council is saying, listen, guys, we're getting close to no money, quite literally. We're getting close to no money because of this law that was passed in by the SRC. And there you go, he has lost connection again. So yeah, UCT is getting close to no money because of that policy that was passed through by the SRC, and they're actually trying to get back the Jewish funding. So I'm actually curious to know. Berto, thank you for another 70 Rand. Sorry, I just saw this now. Thank you for another 70 Rand. Thank you so much. I'm also just reading the comments if you see me looking through down here. Yeah, thank you for the 70 Rand. I'm not sure if Tukelo will join again because there is something I really did want him to share. He's speaking about building his own sort of political party or political something. And that was going to be interesting as well. But moving on with the conversation was, I mean, we were going to speak about Israel and the ICJ case and how the whole case is flawed, you know, and how basically the case in and of itself doesn't have any moral standing when we treat Afrikaners the way we do in South Africa, or even treat black South Africans the way we do in South Africa, because black South Africans are living in abject poverty. And here we are trying to be captains of the world, saying that we can lecture other people on humanity and how to live and how to do certain things, you know. And yeah, basically that's that. Tokilo, thanks for coming back, man. But what I wanted to say to you, I think you heard my point in a nutshell, but we are moving to the last 5 minutes, which is the Israel and the Palestine thing. And that's why I included Jewish funding there.
Yeah,
if you can
please
answer
give
both,
me
actually.
20 seconds to, let me just wrap up the issue of where we're going to get the funds to fund this education thing. Look, I did say my economic solution is the mixed economy, right? State ownership plus private ownership, which is what we have, but we need to improve that. For the government to have shares or control in other in some industries or major industries, right? Tax the rich more when they have more money as a result of us having more investment and having more companies in the economy. Fund education, people find jobs as well. They contribute to the economy as well. Then that means there's more tax generation in the country, right? So that just also takes a lot of people out of poverty. So I do agree with you that NSFAS, what I will agree with you on is the NSFAS must fund degrees that are actually going to work. If you're going to study education, if you're going to study law, you're going to study economics, you're going to study accounting, science, being a doctor and all of that, NSFAS should fund you. But if you're going to study drama and all of those things, I really do agree with you on that part. You should not be funded. And that's
Okay,
it.
cool.
Because that also means that, So that's me. Yeah. Now let's go to the Palestinian issue. Yes.
Yeah, because of time.
Yeah. Great.
So you can kick it off. I don't mind you because I kicked off the last one. It's just a quick one, just quick, it's 5 minutes for the whole thing in total. So you can just sort of say your views on it. Try to stick to 2 minutes at least.
Yeah. What I'm gonna say in the about the Palestinian issue is that Israel should not be occupying Palestine. They should not be killing women and they should not be killing children. Same thing with Hamas. So what they did when they attacked Israel, that was not good. When they went into Israel and then they killed women and they killed children. That is not okay, right? But what I'm going to say is I myself, actually, if you look at history, um, I am like Julius Malema. We are descendants of uh, ancient Egyptians that migrated from Israel thousands of years ago and came into South Africa, Southern Africa, passing into East Africa and ending up mixing with the 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 Venda tribe and the in Southern Africa. You find them in Zimbabwe and all of that, right?
Yes, yes,
So what
yes.
I'm saying to you literally is that the Palestinians might have just been there for the longest time. And we know where the Israeli state was not formed until the 1940s. And Palestine, the Palestinians have always existed for thousands of years, right? So the Israel that is spoken about in the Bible is not the Israel that is formed now by people. I don't know if I'm correct, but I think I'm not sure if it's Rothschild or something. But they have something to do with the formation of an Israeli state in the 1940s. So what I
It's
think
David Ben Gurion and
is
Rothschild,
appropriate
yes.
now is a two-state solution.
Hmm.
Yes. What I think the solution here is um, give the West Bank and all occupied territories back to Palestine and have a two-state solution. Simple. That is the solution.
So,
Stop killing women, stop killing children, and stop killing innocent men. Literally.
can I?
The Israeli
So,
government is participating in a genocide in Palestine.
mm, okay. Because remember, we're trying
That is
to
what I'm
wrap
going to
up.
tell you.
Yeah, we're trying to wrap
Yes,
up, right? So, I'm going to say to you, as
yes,
someone who has at least seen it, because many people in South Africa have not seen um, Israel. I doubt you have. Um, I've not
yes,
even seen Palestine or Gaza with their own eyes. I've got the, I've got the luckiness or the luck or I'm fortunate enough to at least have been and seen and all sorts. Now, I actually even invited you on the trip, by the way, but I just remembered actually.
yes,
actually, actually,
yeah.
such a funny thing, but nonetheless,
Tell me
the
when you go
bottom
to
line is,
Palestine. Yeah,
yes, I would, I would go and see. I would. I mean, I've never
let's
rejected
go to
going to
Palestine.
see a place. The only issue is
Yeah,
you might not
let's go
come
to
out once you go
Palestine.
to
Just let me
Palestine.
know.
Yes, you might not come out once you go to Palestine. Now, now understand
Mm,
this. Um, Israel is a very complex place, right? Started by David Ben Gurion back in the
yeah,
1940s. Yes, the Israelis actually did exist in that part where Israel actually does exist today. The only reason they left that part of the world was because of the Ottoman
yeah,
Empire, which was the Turkish, right? It's like South Africans, like saying if we decided as black South Africans that we're going to leave during apartheid, and then you come back after apartheid and you say, oh, hey, I actually lived here. And then you say, no, you're not from here. That's actually what you're telling the Israelis, that they were actually living there. They left because of oppression and the Ottoman Empire, right? That's all. Now, be that as it may, let's look at the actual fight, right? What's going on in Gaza and what's actually going on. Now, Palestine as a place is full of refugees. It's full of people that even the Middle East don't want to help. I'll ask you a logical question. Why does South Africa
mm,
jump onto an ICJ case while Middle Eastern, the Arab world that exists around Palestine, does not want to assist? No, I'm being honest with you. Why doesn't the UAE or Saudi Arabia go and assist the Palestinians in taking a case to the ICJ? No, in fact, they will continue trading with Israel. Do you know that the Palestinians
yeah.
went into Egypt? Do you know that the Palestinians went into Egypt? And when they got into Egypt, they wanted to overthrow the government. Do you know that? Most Arab nations are afraid of adopting Palestinians because by nature they are rebels. They are ruthless people. They just want to overthrow systems. By nature, that's what they are. That's what even Egypt has got a huge wall. If you think the Cape Town wall is dramatic, go and see the wall between Egypt and Palestine. There in Gaza, on the Gaza Strip. It's crazy. You can't make it up. It's a serious war with barbed wire. It's not even Israel. Israel does not have that border with Palestine, but Egypt, an Arab nation, people that should be sharing in this belief of an Arab world and all those wonderful things, say no, no, no. We
Okay,
can't have
Kuhle,
these
but
people.
are
They
you
want to
saying
fight
that they
over.
should?
Wait, wait, wait.
There
I
shouldn't be a
allowed you to
Palestinian
finish.
state.
I'm not saying there shouldn't be a Palestinian state.
No, it's just a
I'm not
question.
saying that. Do you know
Okay.
that in the year 2003, the former president of Israel offered the leader of Hamas and the president of Palestine, right, offered them a solution where they would even have Jerusalem as part of Palestine, right? That was one of the two-state solutions that was offered to Palestine back then. And he rejected this. And do you know that the king of the Saudi, the prince of the Saudis rather, called the Hamas leader and the president and said, "You guys are fools. How could you reject such an offer? The Israels literally gave you this on a silver platter." This is what the Saudi Arabian prince said, that you guys rejected such an offer that was given to you on a silver platter that said, just take it and go. That's the whole reason Bethlehem is in Palestine. If you didn't know this, Bethlehem, where the city where Jesus was born, is in Palestine. It's not in Israel. Jerusalem is, but Bethlehem is there because Palestine earlier on agreed to Bethlehem, and then Israel offered Jerusalem, and then there was a whole disagreement about how to work it out and all sorts, right? Now tell me, if Israel as a country and a first world country is developing a city like Jerusalem, right? It has developed Jerusalem. It has built buildings. It's got infrastructure. Are you just going to say, oh, you can come and take the land for free? No. You have developed that place. It's a natural thing. Now, be that as it may,
So
and
the
maybe that's...
solution to that is killing women and children in Gaza.
Wait. Now, when Israel go to Palestine and they fire, do you know that Hamas built their stations underneath schools? They built their army bases underneath hospitals. And in a war, the natural target is an army base. So tell me, if you're going to use your people as bait and you're going to put your base underneath the school, when have you ever seen that? Which war can you recall where the people that claim to be protecting you will put a base underneath a hospital, will put a base underneath a school, will put a base underneath an orphanage? Just tell me which war in history that was fought has got such a thing. Because everyone knows that a
Okay.
natural war is about attacking each other's bases. And it is, wait, Choke, it's
Yes.
about attacking each other's bases. Now, you're going to put this underneath schools, underneath hospitals and all sorts, and you think that the hospital will stand there. You think that it will make it there. And not just that, when the Israeli are about to fire, do you know that they send a hot air balloon over the place that they're going to fire? They send a hot air balloon 7 days in advance, and they throw out letters written in Arabic for the Palestinians in that area to read that say, guys, please evacuate. We will be coming for this place in the next 7 days. When Hezbollah, when Hamas strike Israel, they do not send any letters. They just strike. That's why there's the Iron Dome, because Israel must just defend from all ends. They do not say, we're coming for Ashdod. We are coming for the kibbutz. No, we're coming for Tel Aviv. They don't mention this. They just strike. But when
Okay,
Israel
but
comes,
okay,
they
just
say,
to add,
wait,
okay,
okay.
just to give my opinion on that part, do we both agree
Yes.
that the Israeli government and Hamas are actively, and both of them are killing people in the Middle East? Yes or no?
Do you agree that Israel and Hamas are killing people in the Middle East?
Yes.
You cannot say
Do
that
you
when
also
Hamas...
agree?
No, I don't agree with you. We cannot say that when Hamas is using
So what
people
are you
as
saying? Are you
bait.
saying
Hamas is using Palestinians as bait, like it or not. Why
so?
would
Israel
I
is not
claim
killing
to
people.
protect?
Israel is not putting bullets in people. Israel is
No,
not
that is a
bombing
war. That is a
Palestinians. Is that
war.
what you're saying?
That is
No.
a war. Tokelo, that is a war. It's like Hezbollah. It's a war. Tell me why. Do
So
you
people are not
think...
dying.
Wait,
That is the
wait.
question I'm asking you.
Tokelo, hang
Kushe,
on.
people are dying in
Tokelo, hang
Palestine,
on,
yes or
hang on.
no?
I let you finish your statement. When Lesotho starts to shoot at South Africa, and the South African government goes and flattens out Lesotho because it's got the power to do it, are you going to say South Africa is committing a genocide? No. When you engage in an
Yes.
act of terror, such as October 7, you must be ready for the repercussions. You must be ready for the repercussions. The October 7 was started when Hamas went into the streets. It was quiet between Palestine and Israel for a very long time. Hamas went into the streets of Jerusalem and shot innocent people. Are you attacking the people or are you attacking the government? You just shoot innocent people. When Israel shoots into Gaza, they shoot rockets. They do not walk into Gaza and, oh, here's a baby, let me shoot it, boom, boom. No, but Hamas walked in. They went into an orphanage home in Israel, in the kibbutz,
Let,
and they killed
let me.
old people.
Okay.
No, not just old people, they
Okay.
even went
No, I
into
hear
an old
you.
age home. And you ask yourself, what does an orphan have to do? Do you know that I've got videos that I can play for you? Where, do you know, actually, just hold on to this because you are a champion of the black struggle. Do you know that Palestine has got 15,000 black slaves? Go and check this. They've got 15,000 black slaves. Black people are sold as slaves in Palestine by Palestinians. Do you know that not just on top, just to add on top of what you are saying, Hamas takes the food that the UN has sent, right? The UN, the aid that is meant to assist people. Hamas take the food and Hamas keep it to themselves. Hamas even go to an extent of selling the food back to the poor people in Palestine. Tell me, on earth do you think that those degenerate people as Hamas are fighting for Palestinians? They are
Kuhle,
using Palestinians as bait.
I'm not. Look, you,
Yes.
Kuhle, I don't support what Hamas is doing, and I do not also stand with the IDF in their participation. They are both killing people in both sides. Look, October 7th was an atrocity that shouldn't have happened. And I've seen I've actually watched documentaries that support both the Israeli side of the war and the Palestinian side. So what I'm saying to you is, look, an Israeli state did not exist until the 1940s. That's a fact. We know that. That's true. Um, Now, the issue of the aid and all of that. Remember when a flotilla was sent from different countries of the world where activists like
Yes.
Mandela's grandson, I think, were part of that. Do you remember that the IDF arrested those people trying to bring aid into Palestine to help the Palestinians? Do you remember that, Goofy?
Wait,
And I'm not
wait, I
saying that,
remember
look,
that, but
this thing of building
just to
military, no,
mention,
no, let me get my
just
question
to
point,
mention,
please. Let me get this point across, please. Um, this thing of building military bases under hospitals and under different types of infrastructure that people live in, their homes and all that, that is not a good thing. I agree with you. Because obviously that means that if Israel is going to strike, they are going to strike onto those buildings and all of that. But the thing is, what I'm trying to say here is a two-state solution would solve the Palestinian and Israeli issue. As long as Israel
wait.
actively tries to occupy Palestinian territory, this war will never end. Simple. They will
So,
never wipe out
what I want
Hamas.
to tell you,
They can never do that.
when the
It won't
flotilla
work.
came, when, when the flotilla came across, remember, the reason they got arrested was they went into Israeli waters without proper documentation and without declaring what was on the flotillas, which is a law. It's like telling me you want to give food to Lesotho. How do you get to Lesotho? By going through South African waters, right? Because Lesotho is landlocked, right? So now you must declare to me as South African government, what are you bringing in here? Now, if the flotillas don't want to declare what they're bringing in, and you don't have the proper documentation to be in our waters, of course you must be arrested. It's the law of the place. It's just the law. It's got nothing to do with whether you're pro this or pro that. It's about the laws of the place. Any country would have done that, for that matter. You try and sail to Mozambique, they'll arrest you. What are you doing? You do not come with papers. You do not even say what you're coming to deliver here to get to Malawi, because you need to go through Mozambique to get to Malawi. Now, what I'm saying to you is, it has been well recorded that the flotillas did not have any aid on them. Many of the flotillas did not carry any aid. And this was done by journalists, not even pro-Israel journalists. They went there and checked. They said, guys, where's this aid that you guys are claiming? The aid was so small. It was less than what was declared to be. That thing was a gimmick. That thing was there just to try and make us feel sorry for that useless, degenerate woman called Greta Thunberg and Mandla Mandela. Why
Excuse,
doesn't he go and strike
are you saying,
why doesn't wait, hang on. Why doesn't Mandla Mandela go and fight for the people of the Eastern Cape? The people of the Eastern Cape live in abject poverty. They go to school through walking through rivers. It was floods this year in Umtata. But the guy sees it fit to leave his village where he's a chief in the Eastern Cape, in Lusuki Siki, and go over to fight for people he has never met in his life. Just tell me the logic of that. That is like your parent taking their last bit of money. Instead of feeding you, they go and feed another child next door. Just use logic, a basic logic. You don't need to stand
look,
or stand.
I'm using logic here. Listen to me, please. Listen to me here. Please. Look, just because I cannot tell Mandla Mandela who to fight for, Greta Thunberg and other activists. Look, human rights are human rights. And this is what I'm saying. This is what I think would be, again, I'm repeating the same thing. A two-state solution is what is going to fix the Palestinian issue. Israel is wrong for occupying Palestinian land, for its act of genocide against the Palestinians in Gaza, in the West Bank. They are starving the Palestinian people to death.
Because
You
what
get
you're
what I
saying is
mean?
not true.
And
Takela,
therefore,
what you're saying is not
a
true.
two-state
The thing is,
solution. No, it is true. It
no,
is true.
I'm listening to you.
How is it
Where
not
do you
true?
get your facts?
Tell me.
Can I ask you a question? Where do you get your facts? Chances are you get them from TikTok, you get them from Al Jazeera, right? You get them from all these news companies,
Of course,
which
Al
are
Jazeera.
where's Al Jazeera? You get them from Russia Today. Where's Al
It's
Jazeera?
somewhere in
Al
the Middle
Jazeera's
East.
in Qatar.
Yes.
Yes, Al Jazeera is based in Qatar.
Yes.
Where are the headquarters of Hamas? In Qatar. Can we just use logic? I mean, quite literally. You can't use that as facts. I'm saying to you, food is coming in. Hamas, it's been well
Kuhle,
documented.
as I
Hamas
said,
keeps
I
the food to
got
themselves.
Kuhle,
And
as I said, I've heard
wait,
the.
mm,
Okay. Okay.
wait. We won't finish this. Qatar, Hamas
I've, I've,
gets
I've,
food.
look, I've heard both the Palestinian side and the Israeli side. That's it.
So what I'm saying to you is Hamas keeps the food to themselves. They sell the food back to the Palestinians. And to say that Israel has got control of the Palestinian Authority is not true. That is not true. That is absolutely not true. Like any war, are we going to say Russia has got control of Ukraine? I mean, is that what we're going to say now?
Yeah.
Is that the logic we're all going to be running on? No, but nonetheless, be that as it may, I don't think we'll find an agreement on this. The bottom line is we've got to close up the show because we're running very late now. Can you share with me what you wanted to share on your political party?
Yes. Look, I think young people in this country have people, see the comments on TikTok, and people's opinions that say young people can't run the country and all those things. I really think that our future is in our own hands. I think young people should be active participants in their politics. They should go to parliament and stand up for themselves and speak for themselves because they're the ones that are living the reality, and their kids are the ones that are going to be living the reality of whatever happens.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think you've heard it from Takelo. I think we need to wrap this up. We've been going for quite a while now. Even my vocal cords are tired. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for logging in. Thank you for watching. Till next time, bye.